Chapter 1875. In 1 second, she remembered Love Divided by You. Read, book, webno pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu went to the palace and left Black Shadow and Black Shadow alone. She didn't know what had happened, but Wu Lingyu knew Black Shadow, which meant that Black Shadow and Black Shadow were hiding something from her. Wu Lingyu had come to the ghost world, and they didn't tell her such a big thing. She naturally wanted to punish them and protest. She and Wu Lingyu came to the palace and saw this magnificent place. She had too many questions in her heart. Wu Lingyu carried her to the throne and sat down. She reached out and wrapped her arms around his neck. Lingyu, don't talk. Wu Lingyu kissed her red lips. He put one hand around her waist and the other hand under her armpit, holding her head and gently pressing her towards him. Sima Yu could feel his warmth, his lingering feelings, and his endless longing, just like how she longed for him. How many times did she miss him and couldn't cultivate in peace? How many times did she miss him so much that she had to continue to face the future alone? She thought that she would have to wait until she succeeded in her cultivation and returned to the human world before she could see him again. She was worried that it would take too long and he would no longer wait for her. She didn't expect that she would meet him in the ghost world and meet him here. His appearance even made her think that all of this was just an illusion, just because she missed him too much. Wu Lingyu let go of her lips. His hands moved upwards and cupped her face. He leaned his forehead against hers and rubbed the tip of her nose gently. Yue didn't answer him this time. Instead, she held his face and offered her lips when Black Shadow and Huan broke free from the shackles of the river and came to the palace. They could enter other places except for the main hall where they were. This guy's enchantment is so powerful. Juan had always thought that Sima Yoyue's enchantment was not bad. He did not know that Wu Lingyu was even more powerful than her. It's over. Miss must be angry this time. The Black Shadow grabbed his neck with both hands. What should I do? What should we do? Miss will be fine in a while. What I'm worried about now is that guy, Huan said with a solemn expression. Although he wasn't by Wu Lingyu's side, he still knew a lot about Wu Lingyu and his temper. Now that he knew that they had brought Sima Yue here and did not allow them to see each other, it would not be easy for him to let this matter slide. Black Shadow was relieved and said with a chuckle, "As long as Miss isn't angry, then it's fine." Wu Lingyu was indeed wholeheartedly devoted to the young miss and doted on her a lot. As long as young miss says the word, he will definitely not pursue this matter anymore. Then we'd better be sensible and not disturb them. Otherwise, Sima Yue would be angry. Then I'll take you around this palace. This underwater palace is not bad. It's much better than the king's small hut. Aren't you afraid that the king will beat you up if he hears you? The king is not here right now. Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu lingered for a while before letting go of each other. Wu Lingyu touched her blushing cheeks and whispered softly, "Yue, I miss you. I miss you too." Sima Yue rubbed his palm, put her hand around his waist, and then leaned her head on his shoulder. "Lingyu, I'm not dreaming, am I? Did you really come to the ghost realm? Are you really not a figment of my imagination?" Wu Lingyu felt her dependence on him and was both happy and distressed. He leaned over and kissed her cheek, saying, "I'm here, Yue. I'm here to accompany you." Sima Yue's hands clenched even tighter, as if doing so could lessen the longing in her heart. Suddenly, she sat up and looked at him in horror, shouting, "This is the river of forgetfulness. Only souls can come here. Are you dead as well? Who is it? Who killed you?" "Yue, don't be nervous. I'm fine." Wu Lingyu grabbed her hand and calmed her down. "Impossible." Sima Yue did not believe him. "You're also a soul body. How could you? I came here on my own." Wu Lingyu said, "I'm not dead. My physical body is now being nourished in the demon realm." "Why did you?" Sima Yue was confused. "Why didn't you come here directly? With his strength, wasn't it easy for him to travel through the 3 realms? Lin said that I can only see you if I wait for you here. By the river of forgetfulness, we'll meet again, so I came here to wait for you." Wu Lingyu explained. "How is Lin?" Sima Yue thought of her old friends when she heard those names. Lin passed away not long after you left. Lin, Sima Yue suddenly felt sad when she heard this news, sighing. When I met him previously, his body wasn't very good. I didn't expect him to pass away so quickly. How's Xiao Tong? Xiao Tong has taken over the position of the divination clan leader. No one in the clan has any objections to this. Before I came to the Ghost Realm, I heard that his ability to predict the future has improved rapidly after his master's death. He can already rely on his own strength to gain everyone's recognition. Wu Lingyu said, Xiao Tong is very attached to Lin. He must not be feeling well now that Lin is gone. Sima Yue felt sorry for Xiao Tong, but there was nothing she could do. I'm also very attached to you. You should feel sorry for me when I saw your body explode into pieces. Wu Lingyu said, I'm sorry, I didn't expect that after I used the power of faith, this would happen. You really don't know. Wu Lingyu stared at her. Sima Yue pouted, pinched his earlobe, and said coquettishly, At that time, I didn't have any other choice. That old man's protective shield could only be broken by my power of faith. If I didn't do that, Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior and the guild leader would all die. Oomph. Wu Lingyu snorted coldly. Lingyu, don't be angry. Sima Yue pinched his earlobe, sighing, to be able to touch you again, this chubby feeling, it's so good. Wu Lingyu's anger that he had gathered with great difficulty was driven away by her words, leaving behind only heartache and helplessness. He knew that she did it on purpose, but he was still defeated by her move. He pinched her face and said, Do you know how I felt when I rushed over and saw that you were all ready? At that time, I felt that my sky had collapsed. There seems to be no meaning for me to live in this world. Sima Yue hugged him. I'm sorry, Lingyu, I'm sorry. Wu Lingyu hugged her back, bit her lips as if punishing her, and murmured, Don't do this again, Yue. I can't bear it a second time. Chapter 1876. In 1 second, she remembered Love Divided by You. Read book, webno pop-up windows, free to read. Sima Yue's heart felt like it was being stabbed by needles. She leaned on his body and shook her head, saying, I won't. I won't do such things to make your heart ache in the future. If you go back on your words, I'll... Wu Lingyu didn't know what to say after that. What will you do? Sima Yue raised her head and looked at him. Will you ignore me and not want me anymore? Can I bear to? Wu Lingyu rubbed her head. Ignore you, don't want you. Which part of that I can tolerate? I just hate myself. If I was by your side, you wouldn't have. I knew that your body was in danger, but I still left you in the human world. I can't forgive myself. It's not your fault. Sima Yue didn't want him to blame himself. You know my strength. As long as I don't use the power of faith, I can still control myself. You also didn't know that I would use the power of faith. But speaking of which, before my divine consciousness fell into darkness, I seem to have seen my body explode into pieces. But the old ancestor said that my body was saved by someone, so I could keep my memories. What happened after I lost consciousness? Wu Lingyu didn't want to think about the scene at that time. Every time he thought about it, his heart would be cut into pieces. But now that she was the one asking him, he had to say it. When that asterisk arrived, you were indeed only left with broken limbs and bones. I used time reversal to change the time to before you exploded and reconstructed your body. But your soul immediately left, so your body returned to normal, but it was still a lifeless corpse. When Wu Lingyu said this, his body couldn't help but tremble. Sima Yue hugged him and kissed his cheeks, comforting him. Lingyu, I'm here. That's all in the past. If you don't want to, then don't think about it. Wu Lingyu caressed her hand, saying, This time, it really scared me. He paused for a moment before continuing. After that, Lin brought the Phoenix Master over. She used a treasure to exchange for your life. Aunt Foam, I owe Aunt Foam one more time. Sima Yue murmured, Do my grandpa and the others know about me? I know, because at that time, we brought your body to the Sima family. Then aren't they scared? Yes, I did. But with Lin telling them to take care of their bodies and that there would be a time when they could return, they felt a little better. As for the herbs used to nourish you, They will be sent to the Sima family by various people. It can be said that the Sima family is in the limelight now compared to those first-rate forces. Du Feng and the others know. Got it. If the people of Paramount Valley weren't suppressed by the Valley Lord, they would have gone to the Sima family to protect you. Feng and the others were very sad, but they were still okay. The one who changed the most was Li. Because this matter was caused by her capture, she blamed herself. She said that if she became stronger, this wouldn't have happened. The last news I received was that she left Paramount Valley and went out to train. Wu Lingyu slowly explained what happened in the human realm. Sima Yue could imagine everyone's reaction. After hearing about Shiman Li, she sighed, saying, Li has been sensitive since she was young. I'm afraid this will be a huge blow to her. That matter is a huge blow to everyone, Wu Lingyu said emotionally. What about you? Sima Yue raised her head and looked at him. How did you come to the ghost realm? Don't try to fool me. You know me. The words that Wu Lingyu had prepared took a detour and went back. He smiled helplessly, saying, Actually, it's nothing. I just used a secret method to pull my soul out of my body. It's about the same as you. It's just that I didn't suffer like you did. Sima Yue's eyes reddened. Although she didn't know what secret method he was talking about, she knew that it must be something very harmful to the body. The process might be very painful. She didn't know if it would affect him in the future. And he actually came here for her. Wu Lingyu saw her like this, and his heart ached. He quickly comforted her. It's really nothing. It'll be over in a while. Sima Yue's eyes reddened. She kept shaking her head. She didn't believe what he said. It must be very, very painful. Lingyu, thank you for doing so much for me. Silly, there's no need to thank me between us. If you really want to thank me, don't think about the past. Be happy. You're breaking my heart. As he said this, he pretended to touch his chest with his hand. You're not she sure. Why are you acting like a shizi holding your heart? Sima Yue was amused, and her self-blame eased a lot. Wu Lingyu moved his lips closer. Yue, I still like to see you smile. After saying that, he kissed her tender and alluring lips. Huan and Black Shadow walked around the palace more than a dozen times. When they returned, the main hall was still surrounded by the enchantment. This is really too much. We've surrounded the palace and admired it more than a dozen times. I don't know how many ants have been trampled to death, but she still hasn't come out. Black Shadow poked the enchantment and complained. Will there be ants in the palace? I'm just making an analogy. Black Shadow looked at Huan with dissatisfaction. This guy was always tearing down his words. Are we going to wait outside all the time? Don't worry, it won't be long before they come out, Huan said with certainty. How do you know? Because the king is coming. The king is coming? How do you know? The king has been paying attention to Mrs. Affairs. Now that she's about to be abducted, of course he will come. Huan explained. You're saying that the king has been paying attention to things here? Black Shadow was stunned. Yes, so you said that the king's palace is a small hut. He probably knows about it too, Huan said and looked at him sympathetically. You dare to say that the king's palace is a small hut? Just wait until you go back and guard those 2 small huts. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Black Shadow was about to cry and looked at him sadly. You didn't ask me. Huan's indifferent expression made Black Shadow want to punch him. Unfortunately, after experiencing countless beatings, this idea could only remain as an idea. Thinking of his possible end, he wailed in his heart. Please don't let the king know. He didn't want to go back and guard those 2 small huts. After a while, as Huan said, the enchantment in front of the main hall was removed. This meant that the people inside had agreed to let them in. However, after seeing Sima Yue, before they could speak, there was a change in the space. Then, a door was opened, and Ming walked out. However, the air pressure on his body was so low that the river water was about to freeze. Chapter 1877. In 1 second, she remembered Love Divided by You. Read book, web no pop-up window, free to read. Ming stared at Sima Yue's hand around Wu Lingyu's waist. He was very unhappy, very unhappy. Sima Yue did not care that he had exposed himself. She was still angry at him for not telling her that Wu Lingyu was here. Thus, she leaned her head on Wu Lingyu's shoulder and stared at Ming without saying a word. Ming almost spat out a mouthful of blood. I'm doing this for your sake. Why are you still angry at me? Stop it. Don't think that I don't know that you did it for your own interests. Sima Yue saw through him. Wu Lingyu did not say anything. He had not interacted with Ming Wang directly, so it was better for him not to say anything for now. I did it for your own good. Didn't you forget about the underworld at the start? What should I tell you? You have been thinking about your man. How can he protect you if he's not strong enough? I'm helping him increase his strength. Why would a man complain to a woman when he meets with a problem? Ming Wang snorted coldly. He was angry at her for not appreciating his help. Sima Yue stood up and said with a gloomy face, What did you do to Lingyu? HM? Ming stared at Wu Lingyu. This guy did not say anything? Tell me, what did you do to Lingyu? Sima Yue did not dare to imagine what this guy would do to Wu Lingyu when he was bored. Actually, it's nothing much. Wu Lingyu pulled Sima Yue back to sit down. It just gave me some experience. Experience? Sima Yue looked at Ming in confusion. I think it's more than that. It's really just experience. Look, aren't I fine now? Wu Lingyu patted her hand and comforted her. That's right. And he even gained a lot of benefits. Look, the river of forgetfulness has already fused with him. Ming snorted coldly. He looked at Wu Lingyu in a slightly better light. At least he did not complain to Sima Yue. Merged into one, Sima Yue frowned. She was not as happy as she had imagined. What's wrong with you? Wu Lingyu asked when she saw how worried she was. Now that you've become one with the river, does that mean you can only stay here in the future, unable to leave? Can you still return to the Devil Realm? Sima Yue grabbed his clothes and asked worriedly. Wu Lingyu wanted to say that he was fine, but when he thought about how he couldn't even leave the river of forgetfulness now, wouldn't this lie be exposed soon? He hesitated for a moment, and Sima Yue understood. What the hell is going on? And what's with these two guys? You better explain it to me before I get angry. When she got angry, all the men in the room were stunned. Ming felt even more wronged. He was the one who was angry, okay? Why was it that in the end, he was the one who bowed down and apologized to her? But that was not enough. She was so angry that she did not treat him well for the next 2 days. On the other hand, she only scolded Black Shadow and Huan, who had directly carried out her orders. Of course, this was a story for later. I don't believe what you're saying. Get out, I want to talk to Lingyu alone. Sima Yue waited for Black Shadow and Huan to finish speaking before she chased the three of them out of the palace and set up a barrier as a gesture. Wu Lingyu saw that she did not put much effort into setting up the barrier. This barrier could be broken with just a little bit of spiritual energy. Sima Yue walked back and held his hand. Before she said anything, her eyes turned red. Don't cry, I'm really fine. Wu Lingyu's heart melted when he saw her like this. She used to be all-powerful and did well in the human world. She was so strong that she did not seem like a girl at all. She was not like today, crying so easily. Sima Yue nodded and said, I won't ask you about the process. I don't think you'll tell me the truth anyway. But you have to tell me the consequences clearly. I don't care about the past, but it will affect both of us in the future. Wu Lingyu liked her words very much. The corners of his mouth curled up. Coupled with his devilish face, Sima Yue was stunned for a moment. Her reaction made him even happier. He could not help but hug her and kiss her for a while before letting go. Right now, my situation is not very good. His words made Yue's heart clench. He quickly patted her stiff body and said, I'm just saying that it's not good for our future. But for other people, it's not bad. What do you mean? Sima Yue was confused. Since it's not bad, why is it not good for him? Wu Lingyu gave her a look that said, Don't worry. Listen to me slowly. Then he explained, Since I came to the ghost world for you, naturally I will accompany you. But now I've merged with the river of forgetfulness. Merging with the river of forgetfulness. What will happen? Sima Yue looked at him nervously. I can control this river at will, and I can also get power from the river of forgetfulness. But Wu Lingyu looked at her bright eyes and sighed. He told her the truth. I can't leave it thousands of miles away. Otherwise, I won't be able to get its power. Once the power of my body is exhausted, I can only return to chaos. So, you can't leave with me. Sima Yue immediately understood what he meant when he said it was not good for both of them. I'm looking for a solution. Wu Lingyu answered her indirectly. How did you merge with the river? Sima Yue was not happy. This was too ridiculous. Wu Lingyu was silent for a while, then smiled. It's nothing much, just that when I was training in the river, I was injured rather badly and my soul was almost unstable, so I found something to lodge in. I didn't expect to merge with that thing in the end. Don't tell me you merged with the Eye of the Dragon. Sima Yue looked at him in shock. Seeing him nod, she could not help but twitch her mouth. She had heard of the Eye of the Dragon in the underworld. At that time, when Ming brought her to the River of Forgetfulness, he once told her that the water of the River of Forgetfulness was not water that fell from the sky, but from the Eye of the Dragon. And this Eye of the Dragon was a product of the chaos of heaven and earth. It was very mysterious. As long as the Eye of the Dragon existed, the water of the River of Forgetfulness would not dry up. His body had merged with the Eye of the Dragon. No wonder he could merge with the River of Forgetfulness. Then you could just pick up the Eye of the Dragon and put it on your body. Wu Lingyu blinked his eyes. I've already tried this method, but the Eye of the Dragon is there, and I can't take it out. So I've been thinking of a way recently to see if there's any way to pick it up. Chapter 1878. In 1 second, she remembered Love Divided by You. Read book, webno pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yue was even more curious about the dragon's eye now. You become one with it. Why can't you move it? I'm not sure about that either. Wu Lingyu didn't know much about the ghost realm. He didn't know that there was such a thing as a dragon's eye in the River of Forgetfulness. That old guy Hades must know. Sima Yue snorted. I'll ask him. She was about to get up when Wu Lingyu pulled her back, and she fell back onto his lap. Before you go find him, tell me, how do you know him and how are you so close? Wu Lingyu hugged her and didn't allow her to move. She was getting jealous. Actually, it was no wonder that Wu Lingyu was unhappy. Yue had only been in the ghost realm for a few years. How could she have such a good relationship with Hades? Judging from this situation, it was not an ordinary relationship at all. Otherwise, why would Hades listen to her accusations and apologize to her? Why would Huan and the others call her miss? Actually, it's nothing. When I came to the ghost realm, because my soul had been to the chaotic world, I went directly to the ghost realm. At first, Hades was bored and thought that I was interesting, so he wanted to keep me in the ghost realm. Later, I stayed there for many years and became familiar with them. Later, he said that I was the miss of the ghost realm. Sima Yue explained. He didn't call you the princess of the ghost realm, but called you miss instead. What kind of mentality is this? Wu Lingyu curled his lips. Such a childish action did not seem out of place on his face at all. Sima Yue beamed as she pinched his face, saying, I'm not his daughter nor his little sister. Why would he call me princess? She just had a special identity in the ghost realm. It's because of this that I feel that he has evil intentions. Wu Lingyu snorted coldly. Tell me, if not, why wouldn't he call you miss? How could an old monster like him recognize me as his sister or daughter? Isn't it normal for people to call me miss? Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. She had to hand it to him if he could even find a problem with this. When Wu Lingyu heard her say that Ming was an old monster, her sour heart immediately calmed down. He gave her a peck on the cheek and chuckled. Yu's right. That's how it should be. Sima Yue wrinkled her nose and made a face at him. Then she got down from his body and removed the barrier. She said, let's go and ask Ming about the Eye of the Dragon. However, after they went out, they didn't see dark, only black shadow, and Huan recounting the microorganisms in the river. How boring. Seeing the two of them come out, black shadow, and the others were a little surprised. They blurted out, how come you're so fast? Sima Yue rolled her eyes when she saw how surprised she was. Where's Ming? Sima Yue asked Huan. He was still more mature. The king said that he came all the way here because he was afraid that you would suffer, but in the end, he was locked outside by you. He felt depressed, so he went outside to relax. Huan said with a smile. Sima Yue looked at the smile in Huan's eyes and knew what was going on. She whispered, "How old is he?" "He's still throwing a tantrum. I'm still angry. If he wants to go out for a walk, then let him go out for a walk." Everyone, Sima Yue took Wu Lingyu's hand and said, "Lingyu, you haven't eaten anything I made for a long time, right? Why don't we go to the shore, and I'll make something for you to eat?" Wu Lingyu looked at her smiling eyes and knew what she was thinking. He nodded and said, "Okay. Counting the years when I was there, I haven't eaten your food for decades. I just want to eat it. Then let's go ashore." Sima Yue took his hand and swam to the shore. "Oh, miss, I'll help you." After saying that, the black shadow also swam up. As for Huan, needless to say, he was already in front of the black shadow. The place where they went up was called the Mysterious Area. No one dared to come here. But for Sima Yue and the others, this place was no different from any other place. While Sima Yue was cooking, Wu Lingyu was still watching from the side as usual. The two of them talked about something and laughed from time to time. The laughter that came from the bottom of their hearts made Huan and the black shadow feel emotional. So this is what Miss looks like when she smiles sincerely. The black shadow looked at Sima Yue and sighed. "So, Miss has been unhappy all these years." Huan glanced at him faintly. He didn't expect this guy to still be able to understand this. Miss has naturally been unhappy all these years. Her mother was not rescued, and she was working hard alone in the ghost realm. She had no relatives around her and few friends. It wasn't easy to find one or two people to talk to, but those things happened. After following Miss all these years, I can really understand the bitterness of Miss. Huan felt pity for Sima Yue in his heart, but other than protecting her safety, there was nothing he could do to help. There was no way to make her truly happy from the bottom of her heart. Thinking of this, he felt that Wu Lingyu was more pleasing to the eye. At least his existence could make her happy from the bottom of her heart. Alas, this is the person that Miss has placed at the top of her heart. The black shadow looked at Wu Lingyu enviously and felt a little lost in his heart. "Okay, we're different from him. Don't think so much." Huan patted him on the shoulder. "I'm just sad for Mississippi," the black shadow said. "Why don't you think the king helped Miss save her mother? Have you forgotten the rules of the underworld? The underworld can't intervene in the affairs of the ghost realm." Huan scolded. "Didn't you destroy the Dong family?" The black shadow protested in a low voice. "Is that the same? That's bullying our young Miss Head. I'm upholding the dignity of the underworld." Huan argued. "And isn't this the same thing?" The black shadow didn't feel any difference. The king has investigated it. The matter of suppressing Mrs. Mother involved a lot of things in the ghost realm. If we were to come forward from the beginning, it would bring a lot of trouble. Huan said, "So, the king is planning to wait for Miss to save her mother before making a move?" The black shadow, who had always been relatively inflexible, actually grasped the key point at once, causing Huan to look at him in a new light. "It's hard for you to think of this." Huan said, "If we make a move first, it's our business to intervene in the ghost realm. If they dare to bully Miss, it's a slap in the face of the underworld. In this way, we naturally have to protect our Miss." "Ha ha ha, that's good." The black shadow suddenly laughed, causing Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu to look over. He quickly restrained himself. Besides, the king has always been so bored. Let him watch Miss grow up. It could be considered as giving him something to do. If we directly rescue Mrs. Mother, the king will probably be bored again. Huan added. The black shadow's mouth twitched. Why did he feel that what Huan said was the real reason? Chapter 1879. In 1 second, she remembered Love Divided by You. Read book Webno pop-up windows. Free to read. When Ming came over, Sima Yue had finished cooking and everyone was ready to eat. When Huan and Black Shadow saw him, they immediately stood up and bowed. However, Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu sat on the ground and did not move. When Ming saw her attitude, he was angry, but when she glared at him, he felt guilty. This matter, although he was indeed in the wrong, she didn't need to give him a hard time now, right? Sima Yue did not speak, and Ming stood there and did not come over. Black Shadow and Huan naturally did not dare to sit down and eat. Just like that, everyone froze. Then, Wu Lingyu sighed and said, "Yue made some food just now. Would Ming Wang like to do me the honor of joining us?" Yue made more food, and she even prepared some good wine. When Ming saw that Sima Yue did not say anything, he nodded and sat opposite Sima Yue. Black Shadow immediately poured wine for him. "King, this is the kind of wine that Miss mentioned before. It tastes really good, try it." Black Shadow said eagerly, "You know that it tastes good? So you've already drunk it?" Ming glanced at him, and his body immediately froze. The corner of his mouth twitched, and he put on an envious expression. "I want to, but I'm not with Miss. If anyone drank it, it was Huan who drank it. When I opened the wine jar just now, I smelled it. I thought you wanted to go back to the hut." Ming snorted. Black Shadow's body froze again. King knew about this. "Woo, it's over." Looking at King's expression, it seemed like he was going to settle the score. After Ming finished speaking, he did not pay attention to him anymore. He picked up the wine cup and tasted it. Indeed, it tasted good. Sima Yue did not care about him and started eating with Wu Lingyu. When Black Shadow and Huan saw that both of them had moved, they began to feast on the delicacies in front of them. The Netherworld King was very depressed throughout the meal. He glared hatefully at a certain someone who was smiling and picking food for Wu Lingyu. The prawn meat in his mouth, which was his favorite, was tasteless. This woman had him completely under her thumb. Was she not afraid that if he was really angry, no one in this world would be able to protect her? But she wasn't afraid. She knew that he wouldn't. But he really wouldn't punish her. He couldn't even bear to see her suffer any grievances. As for Wu Lingyu's matter, he did not want her to see him, so he asked someone to make things difficult for him. However, the real reason was to increase his strength so that he would have the power to protect her. He was so kind, yet she was still angry with him. He felt so wronged and unreasonable. His heart felt so stifled. But why? Why couldn't he harden his heart and punish her? He had thought about this question more than once, but he couldn't come up with an answer. He used to think that he had fallen in love with her, but he repeatedly confirmed that it wasn't the feeling of love. He also used to think that he treated her as a family member, but he didn't have a family member himself, so how could he have such a feeling? So, it wasn't love either. He seemed to dote on her very much. He liked to see her cause all kinds of trouble, even if it was to clean up after her. It was as if he was happy to go along with her. It seemed that a long, long time ago he had felt this way about something, but it had been too long and he had forgotten what it was. That's not right. He even remembered the color of the pants he wore when he was young. So how could he not remember what it was? Whether it was a person, an object, or a beast, he had no impression of it at all. What was it? How could he not remember? Sima Yue looked at him in a daze as he stared at the food, as if he had fallen into deep thought and couldn't come out. She sighed in her heart, and then said, "By the way, Huan, Black Shadow, you have all stayed in the underworld for so long, so you should know more about the River of Forgetfulness, right?" Huan and Black Shadow both noticed that their king was in a daze, thinking about his awkward thoughts, and were thinking about what to do when they heard Sima Yue's question. "I know about the River of Forgetfulness. Why are you asking this?" Black Shadow replied. "Then do you know about the Eye of the Dragon?" Sima Yue asked again. Although she was asking Black Shadow, her attention was focused on Dark, so when she saw him looking over, she pretended not to care and looked to the side, the corners of her mouth rising. Both Black Shadow and Huan were stunned by her question. They were all clear about the matter of Wu Lingyu and the River of Forgetfulness merging into one, so they naturally knew the purpose of her question. But how could they have heard of that thing? They had never come into contact with it, so they didn't know anything about it. Otherwise, why could Black Shadow only watch as Wu Lingyu and the Eye of the Dragon merged into one? That Eye of the Dragon. "Miss, we really don't know anything about it. You have to ask the king about it." Huan also found a way out for Dark. When Dark heard Huan say this, he thought that this guy was still reliable. That guy, Black Shadow, should still be sent back to his small hut. He stared at Sima Yue, and if she didn't speak first, he wouldn't speak. Although Sima Yue and Dark had only been together for a few years, she could be considered to have a thorough understanding of his temperament. She snorted and said, "Dark, You're the king of the underworld, so you should know everything. What is the origin of this eye of the dragon? It actually prevents the domain from going beyond 10,000 miles. When Dark saw that she spoke first, his expression returned to normal. He snorted and said, "You have been in the underworld for so many years, so you still don't know anything about the underworld. I took you to so many places in the past, but it was all in vain." Sima Yue wanted to say that he didn't take her to the river of forgetfulness at all, so how could she know what the eye of the dragon was? But thinking that he was the only one who knew about this matter, she swallowed it back. This eye of the dragon is something that was born in the chaos at the beginning of heaven and earth. It has been there since the separation of heaven and earth. It is the root of the river of forgetfulness's existence. Since it has already merged with his soul, it naturally can't leave. Dark said faintly, and there was no lack of schadenfreude in his words. Who asked you to be angry with me? Who asked you to throw a tantrum with me because of a man? Humph. Now you're anxious. Sima Yue knew what he was thinking when she heard his words, and she rolled her eyes helplessly. Ling Yu, since you can't leave the eye of the dragon, then let's take it away. This way, you won't be far away from it. Sima Yue thought that this was a good idea and planned to take a look at the eye of the dragon in a while. Wu Lingyu wanted to remind her that he had told her before that the eye of the dragon couldn't be moved. But with her temperament, she wouldn't forget that there should be another purpose for saying this. Wu Lingyu should have already tried, right? This eye of the dragon can't be moved at all, so what's the use of you going? Dark stared at her, wanting to see her disappointed expression, but he saw her staring at him with bright eyes. Chapter 1880. In 1 second, she remembered Love Divided by You. Read book, web quick update. No pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yue looked at Ming and finally revealed a smile. Ming, you should have a way, right? I have no way, Ming said, seeing that no one believed him. He said seriously, I'm telling the truth. That dragon eye is very strange. Even I can't do anything about it. Then why did you let Ling Yu? Sima Yue was really angry this time. He knew that there was no way, but he still let him fuse with the dragon eye. Miss, this is all my fault. If I hadn't been delayed and arrived late, he wouldn't have been forced into the situation of fusing with the dragon eye. Black Shadow blamed himself and said, Punish me. This matter has nothing to do with the king. He ordered me to protect Ling Yu with my life. Sima Yue's eyes were red, and she wanted to cry, but there were no tears. She only felt that her eyes were very dry. She had never thought about the matter of Wu Lingyu fusing with the dragon eye, but now that it was mentioned again, her heart hurt as if it was pierced by needles. His fighting power was forced to the point where his body and soul were about to dissipate. How serious was the situation at that time? How serious was his injury? All right, didn't you say that you don't want to think about the past? Wu Lingyu really wanted to hug her and give her a deep kiss so that she wouldn't have the mood to think about it. But now that there were people around, he could only coax her softly. The other three were also frightened by her appearance. They had almost never seen her like this. Even if she was angry before, it was like a child throwing a tantrum. But now, she wasn't angry. Instead, she was sorrowful from the bottom of her heart. You've been used to being free in your 2 lives. Staying in the stone for hundreds of thousands of years was already enough for you. Now that you're trapped in this place. No, I will definitely think of a way to restore your freedom. Thinking that Wu Lingyu would be trapped here for the rest of his life, she couldn't control her body and trembled. Wu Lingyu held her hand and said, Let's think of a way together. He didn't plan to be trapped here for the rest of his life. Even if Ming Wang and the others couldn't do anything, he had to find a way. If he resigned himself to fate, she would feel even worse. Moreover, neither of them were people who would resign themselves to fate. Sima Yu held his hand and nodded her head heavily. You think of a way? What can you think of? That fellow is stubborn, and it's useless no matter what we do. Ming grunted coldly and poured cold water on them. Just because you don't have a solution doesn't mean that others don't have a solution. Sima Yue was really angry at him. She didn't tease him like before. Miss, the king went to find the dragon eye before. The Black Shadow defended Ming. Although they did not do a good job in this matter, Miss should calm down and not accuse the king. Sima Yue did not expect that Dark had personally dealt with it. Hearing the Black Shadow's words, the anger in her heart subsided. All right, let's not talk about this for now. Ming, is there really no other way? Sima Yue asked, even if it's some unorthodox method. I don't have a way, but now that you mention it, I remember a legend I've heard before. Thinking of that legend, Ming frowned slightly. What's wrong? What's that legend? Sima Yue had never seen him frown before. Speaking of which, this was the first time. It said that the dragon eye came from the chaos of heaven and earth. To solve this, it's most likely related to the chaos. Ming said, but I'm afraid it's not easy to deal with the chaos. Why is it not easy? The chaos world is said to be a world, but it doesn't seem to have anything. Ming said, even I haven't been to the chaos world before. You haven't been to the chaos world? Sima Yue was shocked. Didn't you say that I have the aura of the chaos world when you first saw me? How did you know if you haven't been there? I really wanted to go in the past, but I was restrained at that time. I secretly tried a few times, but I couldn't cross the border of the chaos world. Ming said, then I had a burden on me, so I didn't go. It's rare that someone could restrain you. Also, I don't think you're the kind of person who would give up on your curiosity because of a burden. Is there anything else? Sima Yue knew him very well. Ming knew that he couldn't escape her eyes, so he snorted. When I was the king of hell, I was forced to swear that I wouldn't go there. Are there people living there like the underworld? No, it's not suitable for living creatures to live there. But people who go there can't come out, so no one knows what it's like there. Ming said, I didn't expect you to be able to come out. I couldn't come out at that time either. It was Mo Sha who went in and brought me out. Sima Yue said, after that, Mo Sha and Ling Yu's souls fused. I think it's because of this that only I came to the underworld directly, while Ling Yu went to the ghost world. Ming and Huan looked at Wu Lingyu in a higher light. He was actually willing to go to the chaos world to bring her out. His temperament, strength, and attitude were all qualified. You said that the solution to the Dragon Ball is related to the chaos world. What kind of legend is that? Tell me more clearly. Sima Yue said. It said that only the chaos chi can move the Dragon Ball. Ming said, I think that the reason why he could fuse with the Dragon Eye is because your soul power has some of the chaos world's aura. Otherwise, there are many people who want it. How would you be the only one who fused with it? Very likely. Sima Yue nodded. Hurry up and eat. After we finish eating, we'll go and meet the Dragon Eye. Okay. All right. Sima Yue remembered her original purpose of coming here and asked Wu Lingyu, since you're so familiar with this place, do you know about the treasure? Treasure? Wu Lingyu was stunned. What treasure? Why didn't I hear about it? As he said that, he also looked up at the Black Shadow. Ahem, you don't care about the news on the shore, so naturally you don't know about it. The Black Shadow said, in fact, this matter is also because of you. You went to the bottom of the river from time to find trouble with those river beasts, and then leaked some of your aura from time to time, and then those people thought that a treasure was about to be born. Sima Yue blinked. It was actually him who made the noise? It's actually such a big mistake. My treasure, it turned into a bubble just like that. She was depressed. It turned out that she was looking forward to nothing. She now understood why she always wanted to come here, and why she always felt that she would regret it for the rest of her life if she didn't come. With him here, if she didn't come, she would regret it. At this moment, the Sun Mother Stone in her space ring reacted. Seeing that Mo.G was contacting her, she remembered that she hadn't given him any news for so long. He must be worried. Plus, there was no treasure, so she decided to go back before looking for the Dragon Eye. Chapter 1881. In 1 second, she remembered Love Divided by You. Read book, Netno pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yue brought Ming and Wu Lingyu back to the camp. Mo.G was a little surprised when he saw 2 more people, and then he saw Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu holding hands together, and his eyes almost popped out. Mo.G, let me introduce you. This is Lingyu. Lingyu, this is Mo.G I told you about. Sima Yue introduced the two. Wu Lingyu knew Mo.G, But this was the first time Emoji knew him. He cupped his hands towards Emoji and said, I heard from Yue that she was in the ghost realm these days. Fortunately, you guys took care of her. Ling Yu is very grateful. Emoji immediately heard the tone of sovereignty in his words. Looking at the smile that had never appeared on Yue's face, and the feeling of a little bird that was inadvertently revealed, he finally understood the identity of Wu Lingyu. However, he was a little curious. How did this girl go down the river and bring back another person? As for this, he is my friend, and he passed by here. Sima Yue vaguely introduced Ming, and Emoji saw that Ming was putting on airs and didn't seem to have any intention of befriending him. So he also cupped his hands. Then he turned to look at Sima Yue and said, You went down for so long and there was no news. If I couldn't contact you again, I would have taken people down. After going down, I met Ling Yu and the others, so I was delayed for 2 days. Sima Yue explained. Have you found a vapor beast? Emoji asked. I've killed it. You can rest assured in the future. Sima Yue said. That's good. Because the vapor beast could be invisible, they have been a little worried recently, afraid that that guy would come up again. Now that he heard her say so, he was relieved. By the way, Emoji, when I went underwater, I checked by the way. There was no treasure to be born in the river at all. Those unusual auras were actually from someone fighting at the bottom of the river. Therefore, the Mo family can leave now. Sima Yue said. Emoji was stunned for a moment. He lowered his eyes and thought for a few seconds. Then, he nodded and replied, I see. I'll let them prepare to go back. Speaking of which, they've been here for a long time. It's time for them to go back. In his opinion, either she was telling the truth and there was no treasure below, or she had already obtained the treasure. Even if it was the second kind, he would not snatch the treasure, so he can let the people of the Mo clan go back. That's good. Be careful when you go back. I still have things to do, so I can't leave with you. Goodbye. Sima Yue was a little worried about the safety of Emoji and the others. She heard from the guy who was wandering around all day that the ghost realm had not been peaceful recently. You're not coming back with us? Where are you going? After Emoji asked, he felt that he seemed to be a little abrupt. Sima Yue said that she was going to do something at this time. It was estimated that she was going with these people. It was a little inappropriate for him to ask in person. However, he was still a little worried about her. Although there were people following her, he was still worried. So he explained, The ancestor asked me to protect you. Wherever you go, I naturally have to go. Where I'm going, ordinary people can't go. Don't worry, they will protect me. Don't worry, I will tell your ancestor that he won't punish you. Sima Yue politely refused her. When Emoji saw that she had said so, he knew that if he asked again, he would be shameless. Well, if you need anything, remember to contact me. I know. Sima Yue nodded at him, indicating that she had heard it. If there was anything, she would definitely look for him. After Emoji talked to her for a while, he went to tell Emojan to pack up and leave. Although Emojan was very surprised, he still obediently asked the Mo clan to pack up and leave. Moreover, many people saw them when they left. At first, they were very curious. Later, some people who had a good relationship with them went up and asked them, only to know that they went back because there was no treasure here at all. No treasure? Then wouldn't all their time be in vain? However, the Mo clan has always been unique in treasure hunting, and their sense of smell for treasures was much more sensitive than that of ordinary people. Many times, they were even used as a wind vane by the people of the ghost realm. Therefore, most people believed the news they spread. After staying for a while, they found that there was indeed no movement of treasures, and they all chose to leave. But there were also a small number of people who did not believe their words and chose to continue to stay here. However, after staying for a long time, they did not find out anything. On the contrary, the previous abnormal movement did not come out again, and the entire Nirvana River seemed to be silent. At this time, they believed that there was indeed no treasure here, and it has been a year or two since Emoji and the others left. Sima Yue didn't care about other people's choices at all. After saying goodbye to Emoji, she wanted to go directly to the Dragon Eye, but she was pulled back to the Water Palace by Wu Lingyu. When Wu Lingyu piled up a room full of boxes to her, Sima Yue was still a little stunned listening to his words. You snatched a part of the river beast's force? She twitched the corner of her mouth. Was this the aura of the treasure that the people outside felt? He had fused with the dragon eye. As long as he made a move, there would indeed be an unusual aura. It was no wonder that the people outside would misunderstand. Wu Lingyu was not satisfied with her description and corrected her. This is not snatching, it is filial piety to me. These things are very useful for your current cultivation. After coming here, he had been thinking about what kind of gift to prepare for her. In the end, he felt that this was the best, and by the way, he could also practice his combat effectiveness. So he took action. Now that he thought about it, it did seem a little naive. Actually, you don't have to do these for me. I have the underworld power of the ancestor in my body. As long as my body can keep up, the seal can be lifted. So my cultivation is still very fast. Sima Yue said. Wu Lingyu's heart was lost for a moment. After coming to the ghost realm, his power weakened a lot, and he did not contact the people here. Now, even a gift was not good enough. At this moment, there was a soft touch on his face, and she whispered softly, Even so, I still like it very much. I like the gift you prepared for me very much. He looked sideways slightly and saw her satisfied smile. What she cared about was not how many good things he could give her, but his feelings for her. When he was waiting for her here alone, he would still spend time preparing gifts for her. Regardless of whether these things were useful to her or not, his heart made her feel very warm. She put her hands on his shoulders, and the two looked at each other, their eyes full of tenderness. Lingyu, it's so good to have you in the ghost realm. Chapter 1882. In 1 second, she remembered Love Divided by You. Read book, webquick update, no pop-up window, free to read. The Eye of the Dragon was in the river of forgetfulness. It was not conspicuous usually, and many river beasts swam around here, but it did not make a difference. The Eye of the Dragon was buried in the sand. If it was not a coincidence, Wu Lingyu would not have found it and survived by borrowing the pagoda. Sima Yue kept all the boxes, then followed Wu Lingyu to the place where the Eye of the Dragon was. Ming and the others had already arrived and cleared the surrounding river beasts. A milky white pearl with a diameter of 1 zhong was casually placed in a pile of corals. It was covered with moss and was not conspicuous at all. This is the Eye of the Dragon, the root of the river of forgetfulness. Sima Yue squatted in front of the Eye of the Dragon, sizing up the huge pearl. Perhaps it was because Wu Lingyu's soul had fused with it, so she felt a familiar aura from the pearl. It was somewhat intimate. However, if she felt it carefully, she would realize that the familiar feeling was not just Wu Lingyu's aura. She reached out to push the Eye of the Dragon, which seemed to have been placed there casually. She used half of her strength, but could not make it sway at all. You don't have to try. Even I can't move it. Ming said from the side. Miss, why don't you let us try? The people present were not weak, and their strength was great when they worked together. Okay. She glanced at Ming, and the latter came over reluctantly. She muttered, I really owe you. That's why I'm doing such a degrading thing with you. Sima Yue smiled and did not refute. The 5 of them used their strength together, but the Eye of the Dragon still did not move. This Eye of the Dragon is indeed strange. Sima Yue touched her chin thoughtfully. I've already told you. Brute force is useless against it. Ming said, why don't you try using the chaotic aura in your body? Chaotic aura? Sima Yue was surprised. You came back from the primal chaos world, so your soul is naturally stained with primal chaos chi, which is the aura that your body is hiding, Ming explained patiently. Sima Yue blinked and obediently released her aura. The dragon's eye, which had not reacted before, actually began to emit a faint light. Seeing this, she put her hand on the dragon's eye and pushed hard. The dragon's eye finally shook slightly. If it weren't for the fact that everyone present was at the peak of their strength, they probably wouldn't have felt the slightest tremor. However, she soon found that she didn't have enough strength. Her body was a little weak, and the extent of her shaking was even greater than the dragon eyes. Wu Lingyu noticed that something was wrong with her. She quickly supported her and pulled her hand away from the Longan. Only then did Sima Yue feel that the loss of energy in her body had disappeared. And from the moment she bumped into Longan to the moment Wu Lingyu pulled her down, it was only a matter of a few seconds. If not for Wu Lingyu's quick reaction, Sima Yue's energy would have been sucked dry. "Young miss, how are you feeling?" Black Shadow asked with concern. They didn't expect that the dragons would have such a big reaction after coming into contact with a chaotic aura. If not for the connection between Wu Lingyu and the dragon's eye, which allowed him to sense this and save her in time, her foundation would have been injured. Ming saw Yue's pale face, and for the first time, he was annoyed by his own words. If he hadn't asked her to test the chaotic aura, this wouldn't have happened. Wu Lingyu hugged Sima Yue and blamed himself. Sima Yue saw that they were all looking at her nervously. She smiled at them and said, "I'm fine. Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? If you have something to say, you have to say it." Wu Lingyu said gently, "I'm fine. I just feel a little dizzy and my body is a little weak. My heart is a little flustered and I don't want to stay here anymore." Sima Yue said that she didn't feel well. "Then let's go out first." Wu Lingyu hugged her and disappeared from the bottom of the river. Soon after, they appeared on the riverbank. Then, Ming also came out with Huan and Black Shadow. Ming went up, grabbed her hand, and checked it. He breathed a sigh of relief and said, "It's okay. You just used up all of your strength. You'll be fine after resting for a while." Sima Yue nodded. She knew that the power Ming said was not the spiritual power in her body, but the power of her former soul and current body. "How long do you need a rest?" She wanted to solve the matter with Wu Lingyu as soon as possible and then go to the imperial capital to ask the Ghost King the truth of what happened that year. If he could tell her about her mother's matter, she would consider whether to accept him or not. If he didn't want to, then she would no longer think of him as her grandfather and would find another way to find her mother. At that time, the matter was so big that even Mo.Yu was present at that time. Even if he didn't know where her mother was suppressed, how could he not find it? "It'll take a long time. You won't be able to recover without 3 to 5 months. Ming said faintly. "So long." "Of course. What do you think your situation is? Do you know that your energy was almost sucked dry?" Ming suddenly stopped reprimanding her. To be honest, it was because of what he said that she was like this. Thinking of this, he lowered his voice and said, "You have to rest well. I'll go back and think of a way for you." "Okay." Sima Yue nodded. Everyone saw the reaction of the Eye of the Dragon just now. Maybe they could think of a way if they followed this path. Take good care of her. Don't do anything stupid before her body recovers. Hades reminded Wu Lingyu before he tore open the space and left. He didn't say that he was going to bring Black Shadow and Huan, and the two of them were happy not to ask. They said that they were going to stay and protect Yue. I didn't expect the Eye of the Dragon to be so powerful. She was only in contact with it for a while, and Miss was injured so badly. Black Shadow looked at Sima Yue. "Is there any pill that can help you recover?" Sima Yue shook her head slightly. Her body's energy was sucked away. It was not an ordinary injury. Ordinary pills were useless, and she didn't prepare any rare pills. "Then, Miss, is there anything that can help you recover?" "If there is, Black Shadow, and I will go and find it," Huan said. After he reminded her, Sima Yue's eyes lit up, and she smiled weakly. "No need. I've already found it." After saying that, she moved her mind and brought everyone into the Spirit Pagoda. Little Spirit already knew what she meant and brought them to the Tree of Souls. "Elder Bai, sorry to disturb you." Sima Yue bowed to Elder Bai. "How did you get hurt so badly? Come under me." Old Bai shook his head, and the leaves rustled. The fragrance that wafted into the air made Huan and Black Shadow, who were following them, feel comfortable all over. Wu Lingyu carried Sima Yue over and put her under the tree, letting her rest against the trunk. Elder Bai noticed him and said in surprise, "This soul is so strange." Chapter 1883. In 1 second, she remembered Love Divided by You. Read, book, web no pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yoyue's eyes that were about to close opened again. Strange? Elder Bai, you said that Ling Yu's soul is strange? How is it strange? With the power released by Elder Bai, she felt that her body was much better and the heavy feeling was much more relaxed. His soul has fused again, right? Elder Bai said, when fused back then, it wasn't very good. But later on, it was repaired with divine medicine. But when Sima Yue heard him say this, she was completely energized. Of course, it was because she was scared awake. Elder Bai, what's wrong with his soul? Elder Bai was known as the Tree of Souls, and he was very sensitive to souls. Seeing him like this, her heart was in her mouth. There's indeed a problem, but it's not too big, and it has already been repaired. Elder Bai said, Elder Bai, please enlighten me. She sat up straight and looked at Elder Bai pleadingly. The soul was very important to a person, and if there was even the slightest problem with the soul, it would affect a person's cultivation, not to mention someone like him who had his soul fused and his soul automatically left his body. His soul has fused with something, but you don't have to worry about it. That thing is repairing his soul bit by bit. Elder Bai saw that she was so worried and comforted her. That thing is repairing his soul. Sima Yue was a little surprised. That thing is imprisoning his soul, and he can't leave this place. I actually want to find a way to separate him from that thing. Elder Bai, you are very sensitive to souls. Can you show me a way? No. Elder Bai rejected her idea. Although his soul is very strong, it is actually very weak. If you separate him from that thing, he might end up in a state where his body and soul are unable to fuse. Sima Yue was shocked by Elder Bai's words, and was secretly glad that she didn't do that, or it would be too late to regret it. But he would have to return to his body in the future. Then what about the Dragon Eye? Senior Bai didn't know what she was thinking and continued. Not only can you not separate them, but you also have to find a way to nourish that thing. As long as it is well, his soul will be well. In that case, if he wants to return to his body, will he be affected? Her question surprised Elder Bai, and he didn't answer her immediately. After a moment of silence, he said, the thing he fused with won't affect him or his body. However, if he used a secret technique to leave his body, he could also use a secret technique to return to his body. If not, he would have to find something that could stabilize his soul. However, using the secret technique is very harmful to the soul. Even if you can return safely, you will have to recuperate for several hundred years. When Sima Yue found out that he used a secret method to come to the world of spirits and souls, she knew that there was a price to pay for using the secret method. Thinking of all that he had done for her, she felt both happy and distressed. Bai Lao saw that she was a little dazed, so he changed the topic. You don't have to be so worried. If it was someone else, it would naturally be like this. However, he is lucky to have met me, and I want to repay you. When the time comes, just give him some essence, and he will be fine. It's that simple? Sima Yue was a little surprised. Didn't it sound like a very serious matter? Is it so easy to get my essence? If it wasn't for the chance that it came to you, I'm afraid you won't be able to walk this path for the rest of your life. Easy. Bai Lao was so angry by her words that he hung a branch from the trunk and poked her head like a human. Bai Lao had been recuperating in the spirit pagoda for so long, and he had recovered quite well. He could barely be considered to be flourishing. Sima Yue stretched out her hand to touch the leaf and said fawningly, if I hadn't taken Old White's essence in advance, my soul might have been destroyed in the explosion. How could I have waited for Old Ancestor to condense my soul? Therefore, meeting Bai Lao is the luckiest thing in my life. It's good that you know. Then I have to thank Bai Lao for Ling Yu's matter. Bai Lao, he felt that he had been tricked by this little girl. Compared to Qing Yi, Bai Lao was more useful to the people of the three realms. Because Qing Yi's essence was more useful to the human race and the Mo race, it was the nemesis of the ghost race. It was too late for the ghost race to avoid it. You little girl, you should take good care of your soul here. Once your soul is well, you will be stronger when you return to your body in the future. Bai Lao was tricked and was not happy. He fell silent and looked no different from an ordinary tree. At this time, the three people who had been silent at the side turned their attention to Sima Yue. However, seeing her pale face, they didn't have the nerve to ask her again. However, from their conversation, this tree seemed to be very awesome. What was its origin? Sima Yue looked at their burning gazes and smiled, saying, "Bai Lao, the divine tree is the tree of souls. The aura it releases is very useful for the soul. I can recuperate here, and it's twice the result with half the effort outside." "This is the tree of souls? I thought it was just a legend." Black Shadow looked at Bai Lao excitedly. "Miss, can I stay here for a while? If you are rude, Bai Lao will throw you out." After she finished speaking, she closed her eyes and began to recuperate. She said that she agreed. Black Shadow was so happy that he couldn't find north and wandered around Bai Lao. Wu Lingyu went to Yoyua's old alchemy room and asked Little Spirit to get some herbs. He locked himself in the alchemy room for 3 days and 3 nights. After coming out, he went to find Sima Yue and gave her the pills. Little Seven and the others came out of the alchemy room and looked at Wu Lingyu's back. They muttered, "My goodness, he is even more powerful now." That's right. In the past, he only had spiritual power and magic power. Now, he even has underworld power. In the 3 realms, I'm afraid only he is so powerful. Ye Guang said with admiration. "Really awesome. Oomph. Yu is still the most powerful. No matter how powerful he is, he still has to bow down to Yu. Little Seven snorted. "That's right. Yu is still the most powerful." Ha ha. Sima Yue's body recovered very quickly under Bai Lao's nourishment. She originally said that she would need half a year, but she recovered in about a month. On this day, she pulled Wu Lingyu for a walk by the river. She thought of the rope and took it out to bind it with her blood. Looking at the rope binding Wu Lingyu under her control, she laughed mischievously. "How does this feel? Can you break free?" "You'll know when you try." Wu Lingyu raised his eyebrows at her. "I'm not that stupid to tie myself up." Sima Yue raised her chin and walked towards him. She didn't notice the stone under her feet, and her whole body fell towards him. The two of them fell to the ground together. Chapter 1884. In 1 second, she remembered Love Divided by You. Read, book, webno pop-up windows, free to read. They did not fall onto the ground as expected. The moment they fell, a soft cushion appeared below and caught the two of them. Wu Lingyu was below, and Sima Yue was lying on top of him. Seeing his smiling eyes, she understood what he meant, and her face turned red. So it turns out that Yu likes this kind of heavy taste. The corners of his mouth curled up as he glanced at himself. Sima Yue's face turned even redder. Wu Lingyu was unable to move because of her help, and now she was on top of him. At first glance, it did seem a little. However, seeing his teasing eyes, she calmed down and was not in a hurry to get up. She placed her hands on his chest and looked at him with a smile. Wu Lingyu's body was about to melt under her gaze, especially when he saw her slowly moving closer to him. Her delicate face was getting closer and closer, and her seductive red lips were getting closer and closer to him. Thump, thump. At this moment, he seemed to hear the sound of his own heartbeat. He actually became nervous. Closer, closer. The soft touch was like a feather brushing past him. Wu Lingyu felt his heart being lifted. However, before he could savor the taste, the feeling disappeared again. Sima Yue saw the faint disappointment in his eyes and laughed while lying on top of him. She did not say anything and just stared at him. Wu Lingyu's heart was fluttering under her stare. He wanted to reach out and hug her, but his hands were tied. "Yue." His low and hoarse voice was full of temptation and desire. "Weren't you laughing at me just now?" Sima Yue touched her hair and teased his face. He had already endured for hundreds of years. In the past, it was fine if she teased him subconsciously, but now, she was openly teasing him. It was simply asking for his life. A single look, a single word, and a single action from her made him unable to breathe. "I was wrong, Yue. Don't punish me." He apologized sincerely, but his words were full of burning desire. Sima Yue felt a little uncomfortable under his burning gaze. She suddenly regretted seducing him. Seeing him staring straight at her, she smiled seductively and kissed him hard. After a round of entanglement, they almost had sex. At the last step, a certain someone managed to restrain himself. This made Sima Yu rather surprised. Seeing his pain, Sima Yu wrapped her arms around his neck and buried herself in his neck. She whispered if it's okay. For her, he gave up his life and came to the world of spirits and souls. After going through so much, the two of them finally got together. She had already set her mind on him. The etiquette of the Duke of Zhou was the same sooner or later. Wu Lingyu's hands were already free. He tightened his arms around her and took a deep breath. Then, he kissed her forehead and said, "Although there's no difference between the two of us, I still want to wait until after we're married. That way, my parents-in-law will be even happier." All parents naturally didn't want their children to have sex before they were married. He thought this way not only because he respected her, but also because he respected her parents. "After we've settled your matter, we'll go and save Mother. Anyway, Father is here. With the two of them, we can get married." Sima Yue replied, "It seems like I'm not the only one who's anxious to take advantage of you." Wu Lingyu chuckled. "After we save Mother-in-law, we'll get married." Sima Yue was teased by him again. She reached out to poke the flesh on his waist, but he held her hand back. Then he started to do it again. After a long time, when the evil fire in their bodies dissipated, they lay on the soft bed and chatted. They talked about the magical weapon that tied Wu Lingyu up. Immortal binding rope. It'll be called this in the future. Sima Yue played with the rope. She liked it very much. She actually knew that Wu Lingyu was tied up by her on purpose. However, neither of them expected that they would almost be unable to free themselves in the end. However, this thing was still very useful to deal with others. "All right, can you still refine weapons now?" She suddenly sat up and looked at him with a frown. "That depends on the situation. If it's too powerful, I'm now." In the past, it wasn't a problem for him to refine a magical weapon. However, now that he had abandoned his body and came to the ghost realm, he couldn't be like before. At least, he couldn't for the time being. Sima Yue told him about Little Spirit finding a spatial magical weapon to repair the Spirit Pagoda. She also told him that this could bring 1,000 resonance and Little Roar to the ghost realm. She originally wanted to wait for herself to grow up and do it on her own. She didn't trust anyone else. However, now that she had him, it was different. "Let me see the item." Wu Lingyu sat up. Sima Yue took out the pocket universal box and passed it to him. Wu Lingyu looked at it and said, "It shouldn't be a problem. However, it might take some time. I'll study it for 2 days first." "All right." Sima Yue handed the item to him and let him arrange it. Wu Lingyu knew that she missed Little Roar and the rest. After receiving the pocket universal box, he began to study it. 2 days later, he began to fuse it with the Spirit Pagoda. It wasn't the first time that he fused a magical weapon with Little Spirit. The last time was when he was in the Yilin continent. He fused the 7-layered pagoda with Little Spirit, who was still a spirit stone, and formed the current Spirit Pagoda. However, the last time he was still connected to Sima Yue, he was still connected to the Spirit Stone. Therefore, it was easier to control the fusion last time. However, at that time, he didn't recover much of his strength. Now his strength was much stronger than before. Therefore, although the process this time was more troublesome, it was still completed smoothly. This time, not only was Little Spirit completely repaired, its grade was also better. Sima Yue saw Wu Lingyu smiling at her, and knew that this matter was done. However, what they didn't know was that when Little Spirit completely recovered, there was also movement in the human realm. When the Sima family saw the golden light emitted from the back mountain, everyone in the residence was shocked. Thinking that it was the direction where Sima Yue was, everyone flew in that direction. Seeing Sima Qing standing in front of the cave and staring at the golden light in a daze, Sima Zhiyuan and the rest asked excitedly, "Old ancestor, is you?" Sima Qing shook his head. She didn't wake up. It was the light that suddenly emitted from her body. "What is that?" "I don't know, but it must be related to her." Sima Qing murmured, Maybe it's because she did something over there. Then is she coming back? No one could answer the last question. They couldn't go to the ghost realm and couldn't bring her back, so they could only pray that she would come back soon. Originally, after so many years, many people on the continent had almost forgotten that there was such an all-powerful woman. Only those who were present at that time, and those who were related to her, remembered her and kept sending her the elixir she needed. Today, the golden light from the Sima family made her the focus of everyone again. Everyone was guessing whether she was coming back. Chapter 1885. In 1 second, she remembered Love Divided by You. Read book, web quick update. No pop-up window. Free to read. Little Helper stood at the peak of the mountain, and the many-years-old pine tree on a mountain peak were one person and one shadow. A child came behind Little Helper, bowed and said, "Sovereign, I just received news that there are movements from the Sima family." "I already know. Unfortunately, it's not her who came back." Little Helper replied faintly. The child was a little surprised. Sovereign had been standing on the mountain for so long and had not come down. He had actually predicted the movements from the Sima family. To be able to predict such a small matter, Sovereign's prediction ability had improved again. But Sovereign was always frowning. What could he do to make him happy? It was really worrying. Little Helper looked at the distant sky. It was so natural that it was connected to the mountain range, as if it was hidden behind the mountains. He blinked his eyes, forcing back the tears in his eyes, and muttered in his heart, "When will you come back?" At this moment, Sima Yue was being hugged by Little Roar, who did not want to let go. His 4 short limbs were all on her body, and he was crying nonstop. After listening to him cry for a while, Sima Yue comforted him. "All right, aren't I here now? I thought that I would never see you again." Little Roar cried for a while before he was able to speak. "Don't give me that. Thousand Resonance is unconscious, you, and I have a soul contract. Can't you feel it?" Sima Yue poked his head. "Right, why are we all awake, but Thousand Resonance is still not awake?" Little Roar thought of being with Thousand Resonance. He had been awake for so long, but Thousand Resonance was still asleep. He was worried for a long time. Previously, he thought that it was because everyone had not woken up, and he was the only one who was special. But now that he saw that everyone was fine, and only Thousand Resonance was alone, he was even more worried. Could it be that Thousand Resonance's injuries were too serious? "Don't worry, Thousand Resonance is fine." Sima Yue saw that he was anxious and explained, "You woke up because you and I have a soul contract. When my strength increases, you will naturally wake up." Little Seven and the rest woke up because they were in the Spirit Pagoda and were nurtured by Little Spirit. When Thousand Resonance was in my body, she didn't receive any nourishment, so she didn't wake up. It will be fine after it recuperates here. "Really?" Little Roar raised his head and looked at her. Seeing her nod her head in affirmation, he finally relaxed. Then, Little Roar, who had regained his original nature, began to play around in the Spirit Pagoda. That mischievous look really made her speechless. However, it had to be said that with Little Roar, the Spirit Pagoda was even more lively. When dark came over, Sima Yue walked out of the Spirit Pagoda. Ming raised his brows when he saw that she had recovered. "You recovered so quickly, with the help of external forces." Sima Yue smiled. "Have you found a way?" Ming nodded. "There is a way, but it's not easy. It's better than nothing." Sima Yue was not afraid of trouble as long as there was a way. "King, what should we do?" Black Shadow asked. Wu Lingyu stared at him and said what he was worried about. "The dragon eye absorbs the chaotic aura. It has a limit. As long as it's filled up, we should be able to move it." Dark said, "But how do we get the chaotic aura?" Black Shadow frowned. Actually, everyone knew that the chaotic aura naturally came from the chaotic world. Did they have to go to the chaotic world? But that was too dangerous. Dark glared at Black Shadow before continuing. "Only you can get the chaotic aura from there." Okay. Sima Yu also had this idea in her heart, so she didn't hesitate to agree when she said it. Wu Lingyu wanted to go with them, but he was trapped here and could not leave. "Where are we going?" Black Shadow asked. "It's not us. It's just her. Dark glanced at the frowning people and felt helpless. I have a restriction on me, so I can't go to the chaotic world. If you two go, you probably won't be able to come back. She's the only one who's been there before, so she's the only one who can do this. In the past, not many people who went to the chaotic world returned. Black Shadow and the others were from the underworld, so they definitely could not go. Sima Yue had been there once, so the restriction was useless to her. Don't worry, I'll be fine if I go alone. Sima Yue was not worried. She just wanted to solve this problem as soon as possible and then save her mother. Only people who are fine will be worried about you. Dark patted her shoulder, then opened up a space and threw her in. He did not give anyone time to react. Looking at the closed space, everyone's mouth twitched. King, did you have to be so fast? You haven't told her how to do it. Dark was speechless under their stares. He understood their gazes and snorted. Why are you looking at me? I don't know either. The three of them were speechless. Wu Lingyu wanted to fight with him, but could he win? The answer was obvious, even with his toes. As for the other two, they did not have the guts to do so. By the time Sima Yu came back to her senses, she was already in a vast expanse of white fog. Looking at the fog, she knew that she was in the chaotic world. Dark, this fellow, actually has a restriction placed on him. He can't come here at all. This means that when he said that he had never been here before, he was just bluffing. I don't know what he did here, but someone actually placed a restriction on him. Sima Yu's interest in Dark was only at the beginning. After walking in the chaotic world for a long time, she did not have the mood to think about Dark anymore. I feel like I've been walking for a few months, but everywhere I go is white. I haven't met a single living creature. This place is too strange. She held Little Seven's hand, while Little Roar lay on her shoulder. It was lonely to walk alone for so long. Since these two fellows wanted to come out, she let them come out so that they could talk. Indeed, there isn't a single living creature. This place is so big, it can't be just us, right? After Little Roar finished speaking, he leaned on Sima Yue's neck. Sima Yue was not worried that there were no living creatures. She was worried that Dark threw her here without telling her anything. She did not even know how to gather the chaotic energy. He could not possibly find a bottle to store it, right? Yu, let me do it. Little Spirit's voice sounded in her mind. With a thought, Sima Yue appeared in her arms. This time, the Spirit Pagoda and the Pocket Cosmos box fused. One of the benefits was that Little Spirit could leave the Spirit Pagoda and move around freely. Little Spirit, what idea do you have? Before Sima Yue could say anything, Little Seven asked first. The chaotic world was not fun at all. There was not even a single person, let alone a fight. She wanted to finish this quickly and leave as soon as possible. The outside world was much more fun. Sima Yue stared at Little Spirit, waiting for him to say his idea. Chapter 1886. In 1 second, she remembered, Love divided by you? Read book, web no pop-up windows, free to read. Sima Yue stared at Little Spirit, her heart a little nervous. She did not know anything about the chaotic world and was completely blind. She had to try anything. Little Spirit did not keep her in suspense and said directly, I have been trying to see if I can absorb the chaotic chi here. In the end, I found out that I can. Previously, I was able to return the energy I absorbed to you. This chaotic chi should be able to do the same. You're saying that you should first absorb the chaotic chi and then return it to me. When I transfer to the Dragon Eye, with you around, I won't be injured because of the lack of chaotic chi. Sima Yue's eyes lit up. This is a good idea. Little Spirit, I'll leave this to you. And Little Spirit nodded his head seriously. Wu Lingyu had helped emerge twice and raise his grade. He was also Yu's beloved, so he naturally had to treat this seriously. Then how long do you need? Little Seven asked. I don't know either. I feel that to fill that thing up, I need a lot of chaotic chi. However, my absorption speed is not fast. I might need a few years, a few decades, or even a few 100 years. Little Spirit frowned slightly. He had no confidence in this matter. A few 100 years. Little Seven jumped in shock. If she had to stay here for a few 100 years, wouldn't she be bored to death? I'm only saying that it's possible. Little Spirit glared at her. For you use health, the more the better. All right then. Little Seven could not joke about Yu as health. If it was boring, then so be it. It was better than seeing Yu injured. A few hundred years it is, as long as it can solve Ling Yu's problem. Sima Yu West said, continue absorbing for now. I'll see if there's any other way. Okay. Little Spirit replied and went back. Yu, what do we do now? Little Roar asked. Let's walk a little more. The chaotic world is so big. It can't be that there's nothing, right? Let's see if we can find anything. After Sima Yue finished speaking, she continued to lead the group. They walked in a white world for a few more months. Just when she thought that the world was just like that, a little bit of difference finally appeared. This was something that Little Roar had discovered. In this vast white world, he could actually hear the sound of flowing water. When they followed the sound, they saw a small stream. Is this really water? Little Seven was a little suspicious. There was nothing in this world. They had been walking here for more than half a year and had not seen anything. How could a stream suddenly appear? Sima Yue walked to the side of the stream and looked at the steam rising from the water. It seems that all the fog in the primal chaos world comes from this stream. This stream was really strange. It didn't look like there was much water, but there was so much steam coming out of it. She wanted to reach out and splash the water, but somehow she slipped and fell down. Little Seven and Little Roar reacted and stretched out their hands to pull her up, but it was as if they were blocked by something. They couldn't even touch her body and could only watch as she fell into the water. It looked like there was only a little water in the stream, but when she fell in, it was as if there was no bottom at all. She opened her eyes and realized that she had fallen into another world. It was a pitch-black world with nothing in it. She didn't know how long she had been in the darkness. She even forgot who she was and what she wanted to do. She forgot Wu Lingyu, her father, mother, brother, and sister. She forgot all the people she knew. Her divine sense was empty, and she had no memories at all. Just when she was at a loss, she saw a ray of light in front of her. Following that, the ray of light expanded and chased away the darkness. The surroundings were pure and holy. She didn't know where she was and didn't know what this was. She could only open her eyes and look at the creatures that were slowly growing in the empty water. They grew in the water, multiplied and left, one after another. At this moment, she saw a black lotus emerge from the water. That lotus looked familiar to her, but she couldn't remember where she had seen it before. At this moment, she felt that her back was burning, as if she was going to melt. Following that, the lotus slowly bloomed. When it had fully bloomed, the burning sensation on her back slowly dissipated. As time passed, slowly, other plants started to grow by the side of the stream. There were various spirit beasts and even humans. Following that, they slowly separated. There were various races and the world was divided. Those that came out of the water became gods. Those that came out later became their subordinates. Later on, the gods disappeared. She didn't know if they were extinct or if they left this place. Later on, there was nothing left here. It was as if it had turned into nothingness. Sima Yue didn't know how long she had stayed at the bottom of the river, but she felt that she had experienced millions of years. She had experienced the vicissitudes of life and saw all the life in the world. She had witnessed the origin and development of life. When she woke up, what she saw was her own territory. It was a territory that was full of life, like a real world. She felt that her territory had already called itself a world. She could even live in it. The scene she saw earlier didn't disappear because she woke up. Instead, it was fresh in her memory. In that place, she witnessed the origin of life. She witnessed the world that had yet to be separated. She witnessed the three realms coexisting peacefully. She also witnessed them being chased out by the gods. They were like fire and water, and from then on, they lived in a barren place. She didn't think that what she saw was an illusion. It was said that the world used to be chaotic. Looking at it now, she felt that what she saw was the origin of the world. If that was really the case, then didn't it mean that all life originated from the stream and lived in the chaotic world? Later on, this place wasn't suitable for living anymore. so everyone left. From then on, the chaotic world became what it was. Thinking about the black lotus she saw, she used to think that it was a coincidence that she came to the chaotic world when her soul was damaged. It seemed that it wasn't true. To be able to come here, it must have something to do with this place. However, at that time, even if she could come in, she couldn't leave. It was Immerse Shah who risked his life to come in and bring her out. And Immerse Shah could come in because he had a contract with her at that time. He could only come in with her. Now, even without the restriction of the Eye of the Dragon, he wouldn't be able to come in. She just didn't know if what she saw could be seen by everyone who came, or was it the stream that let her see it? I can't drink anymore. Little Spirit's voice interrupted her thoughts. If I drink any more, I'll be stuffed to death. Chapter 1887. In 1 second, she remembered, Love Divided by You. Read, book, webno pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yue came out from her deep thoughts. Hearing Little Spirit's words, she was puzzled. What are you drinking? Drinking water. Burp, Little Spirit said and burped. Drinking water? What water are you drinking? Sima Yue couldn't remember where she was for a while. How is this a stream? It's clearly water condensed from the primal chaos chi. I've already drunk my fill just now. Little Spirit's voice was very happy. It was just that he did not know how long it would take to absorb the white mist. Now that he was full, everything was solved. Sima Yue entered the Spirit Pagoda and saw that Little Spirit had actually created a small stream in the medicine field. She did not know where it ended, and she did not know where it went. Perhaps only Little Spirit knew how long it was. Don't tell me you moved the entire stream in? She was speechless. She saw the primal chaos chi emerging from the water and lingering above the medicine field, nourishing the medicine field. However, under Little Spirit's control, there was not much of it. It was not like the primal chaos world, which turned into fog everywhere. Such a long stream was almost the same as the one she saw outside. No wonder she was wondering if it had moved the entire stream in here. Little Spirit appeared beside her and happily danced with his hands and feet. I don't know how big that little stream is. It's endless. I think I've drunk enough, but to it, it's not even a drop in the bucket. Sima Yue did not expect that such a small stream would be so big. However, with such a small stream in the Spirit Pagoda, it would naturally be enough to fill the Dragon Eye. Let me tell you, with this, I also have the Primal Chaos Chi. It's much more powerful than ordinary divine weapons. Little Spirit grabbed her and jumped around. There were very few things that could make him so happy. This time, he was able to raise 2 grades consecutively. To him, this was something that could only be encountered by chance, especially this primal chaos chi, which was the origin of life. This is not bad. Sima Yue patted its head. Since we have obtained the river water, let's prepare to go back. After she left this Spirit Pagoda, she remembered that she had come in through the domain. Since the domain had been confiscated, she had come out from this place. She put away her domain and found herself in the bottomless water. There was a faint light coming from above. She swam up, and when she came out of the water, she saw Little Seven's anxious face. Seeing her, Little Seven and Little Roar finally relaxed and said, You, quickly come up. This time, her outstretched hand successfully grabbed onto Sima Yue. Sima Yue felt that the water was sucking her down. She only managed to climb up with the help of Little Seven and Little Roar. Are you all right? You scared us to death. Little Seven looked at him worriedly. I'm fine. Other than feeling a little heavy, Sima Yue did not feel any discomfort. How long have I been in the water? More than 10 days, Little Seven replied. We wanted to go down to look for you, but we couldn't get into the water no matter what. We don't know why it's so strange. Luckily, you're finally out. If not, Little Roar and I. It's only been 10 days. Sima Yue muttered softly. She had clearly seen the world, but only 10 days had passed. What's wrong? Sima Yue told them about what she saw, and Little Seven was shocked when she heard it. The life in this world was actually born from here. We actually saw this river with our own eyes. It's a pity that this place is no longer suitable for living. Who in this world would know that this is the origin of life? Little Roar and Little Seven were deeply moved. It really makes one sigh. Sima Yue was also deeply moved. However, Little Spirit has filled up quite a lot of water from the river. We can think of a way to go back. How do we go back? Little Roar asked. This question stumped the two of them. That's right, how do they go back? Last time, Immerse had brought her out. This time, that fellow Dark threw her over without telling her anything. How could she go back? Just at this moment, she felt a scorching pain from her shoulder. A black light shot out from her shoulder and pierced through the thick fog. It opened a passage in the air and brought her up quickly. Yu, Little Seven and Little Roar were shocked by this sudden change. Luckily, Sima Yue used the power of the contract to keep them into the contract space at the last moment. Only then did she successfully bring them out. When Sima Yue stepped on the soil by the River of Forgetfulness, she still had some lingering fear. It was really too dangerous just now. If not for her quick reaction, Little Seven and Little Roar would have been left in the chaotic world. Hence, when she saw a certain someone looking at her mockingly, she could not help but say, "Why didn't you tell me beforehand? What did I tell you? If I told you, would I still be able to see this panic side of you?" Dark smiled with a satisfied look on his face. She was too calm. After being with her for so many years, he had never seen her panic over anything. Even when it came to Wu Lingyu, she was only anxious and worried. Now that he had finally seen her panic, although it was only for a short moment, he was satisfied. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. When would this fellow stop his bad taste? Dark naturally ignored her rolling eyes and asked, "Let's not talk about this first. What did you see over there? Was the matter of the chaotic aura resolved?" Sima Yue told him about what happened over there. Although it was not a short time, she did not encounter many things. After all, she had been walking for half a year. It was the last scene that shocked everyone. "I never thought that you would be able to see that." Dark seemed to be deep in thought and stopped talking. When Sima Yue saw him like this, she knew that he knew something. But looking at him like this, it seemed that he didn't intend to say it, just like how he didn't intend to say anything about him in the chaos world and why he couldn't go because of the restriction. Also got quite a lot of chaotic aura. Let's go to the Dragon Eye now. Sima Yue wanted to solve the matter of Wu Lingyu as soon as possible. However, Dark and the others were not at ease. From the last time she was injured, a little bit of chaotic aura was not enough. If she only got a little bit, wouldn't she be injured again? However, after seeing the chaotic stream in the Spirit Pagoda, the four of them shut their mouths. With just this river, a few dragons' eyes should be enough. You're really greedy. Although he said this, he still brought her to the Dragon Eye. Wu Lingyu was still very worried when he saw her approaching the Dragon Eye again. He stood beside her and stared at her closely. If she felt any discomfort, he would immediately go forward and pull her down. Seeing her put her hand on the Dragon Eye, everyone's hearts were in their throats. Chapter 1888. In 1 second, she remembered Love Divided by You. Read, book, webno pop-up windows. Free to read. What they were worried about did not happen. Sima Yue did not show any signs of discomfort. As she continued to pour chaotic energy into the Eye of the Dragon, the Eye of the Dragon emitted a milky white light. It penetrated the moss on the surface and illuminated the entire bottom of the river. Not only that, when the light shone on people, it made them feel very comfortable. Even the other river beasts in the River of Forgetfulness felt as if they were bathing in a warm embrace. Sima Yue watched as the Eye of the Dragon became brighter and brighter. It gradually became smaller, and a smile finally appeared on her face. It was indeed useful. She did not know how much chaotic energy she had poured in, but the Eye of the Dragon finally shrunk to the size of a human head. It floated up and down in front of her. Then, it ran over and rubbed against her body. It looked very intimate. Sima Yue reached out and hugged it. It was not as heavy as before, so there was nothing special about hugging it. "Miss, can I hug it too?" Black Shadow stood at the side and stared at the Eye of the Dragon with a burning gaze. He even subconsciously licked his lips. Eye of the Dragon. If he could hug it, He could brag to others when he went back. Previously, he could not even shake it. Now that she could hug it, there should be no problem. Sima Yue felt that they could hug it if they wanted, so she passed the eye of the dragon over. Black Shadow excitedly reached out to take it, but his arms were almost crippled. Fortunately, he let go the moment he felt the weight. Otherwise, he would have been flattened. Damn, why is this so heavy? He took 2 steps back and patted his chest with a face full of fear. Is it very heavy? Sima Yue hugged the eye of the dragon with one hand. It's not heavy. It should be because the chaotic energy you poured in contains your aura and has been recognized by the eye of the dragon. That's why you can hug it. Ming explained. Then, he said to Wu Lingyu, try it. Wu Lingyu reached out to hug the eye of the dragon. It obediently allowed him to hug it. It's not heavy. He weighed the eye of the dragon as if it was an ordinary object. It seems that it only recognizes the 2 of you. Black Shadow looked at the 2 of them enviously. Wu Lingyu had become one with it, so she was naturally able to carry it. Since Sima Yue's aura had been recognized by it, it was almost as if it had recognized its master. Sima Yue was amused. If we can't win the fight, we can use it as a weapon to crush them. The dragon's eye twitched in Wu Lingyu's hand. She didn't know if it was protesting her words or if it was excited to hear them. All right, Lingyu, you can put away. Now that the matter is settled, we can prepare to go back. Sima Yue went up and held his hand happily. It's not that simple. Ming poured a bucket of cold water on her. If he leaves just like that, the river of forgetfulness will be finished. The water of the river of forgetfulness came from the dragon's eye. If they took away the dragon's eye, wouldn't the river of forgetfulness dry up? The Nirvana river connected to it would also be affected. The nether beasts in the river. Do you want me to give up at this point? Sima Yue's face fell. If it was before she went to the chaotic world, she might not care about the lives of these river beasts. However, after witnessing the changes in the chaotic world, she had a trace of pity for these innocent lives that she didn't even notice. However, if there was really no other way, she would still choose Wu Lingyu. King, do you have a solution? Black Shadow couldn't bear to see Sima Yue disappointed, so he placed his hope on Ming. What can I do? I can't make a dragon's eye appear here. Ming looked at Sima Yue's troubled expression and felt that she was much angrier than before. The dragon's eye was one of a kind. It was impossible to find a way to replace it. Sima Yue was in a dilemma. At this moment, the dragon's eye emitted a blinding white light. Everyone had no choice but to close their eyes and cover their eyes with their hands. When the light dissipated, everyone opened their eyes and was immediately shocked by the thing in front of them. 2 dragons' eyes? Black Shadow pointed at the 2 identical dragons' eyes in shock and opened his mouth wide. Ming was also stunned. He just said that he couldn't make a dragon's eye appear, and now it was here. These 2 are different. Wu Lingyu said, this one has a connection with me, but I can't sense the connection with the other one. So, this was made by the dragon's eye and left in the river of forgetfulness. Sima Yue reached out and poked the extra dragon's eye. It slowly floated to the place where the dragon's eye used to be and turned into its original size. Seems like it. Ming didn't expect this problem to be solved so quickly. However, this is a part of the dragon's eye. I don't know if there will be any impact if half of it is gone. I will send people to keep an eye on this place. If the river of forgetfulness is unstable, I will send people to find you. Sima Yue knew that the river of forgetfulness originated from the underworld. Some of the river beasts in the river of forgetfulness were also from the underworld. If this place was affected, the underworld would be affected too. As the king of the underworld, he was responsible for the lives in the underworld. However, she felt that since the dragon's eye could split on its own, it meant that it knew that it was useful. Hence, she wasn't very worried. After that, Wu Lingyu kept the dragon's eye. From now on, he wouldn't be trapped here anymore. They came to the shore. Perhaps they realized that they were going to be separated, so they were a little silent. In the end, it was Ming who spoke first. When are you leaving? Now. Sima Yue held Wu Lingyu's hand. I have to go to the capital as soon as possible and find out where Mother is being suppressed. Then, I will go and save her. With your current strength, I'm afraid you are still a little lacking. Ming didn't think highly of her strength. Back then, when he asked her to cultivate in the underworld, this fellow refused to do it no matter what and wasted so many years. At this moment, he forgot that he was the one who said that if she cultivated in the underworld, she would have to stay in the underworld. I have Lin Yu now. Cousin has also prepared for so many years. Sima Yue smiled at Wu Ling Yu, her eyes full of trust. With him by her side, there would definitely be no problem. Ming looked at the lovey-dovey eyes of the two and waved his hand impatiently. Let's go, let's go. My eyes are hurting. King, are we still following them? Huan asked. Of course we have to follow them. With her troublesome temper, she will cause trouble sooner or later. You two follow her and protect her well. Also, if there's anything fun, you can tell me. Ming said, although there is an agreement between the underworld and the ghost realm, it doesn't mean that we don't care about the affairs of the world. You two have to be more flexible. Don't lose face for the underworld, understand? Huan and Black Shadow were happy. Their king had given them power. In the future, they wouldn't have to be afraid of anything. We will definitely protect the young miss. The two answered in unison. As for a certain someone, they both ignored him. Chapter 1889. In 1 second, she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read book, webno pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yue and Wu Ling Yu left, followed by Huan and Black Shadow, leaving Ming alone. Ming waited for them to leave, but he did not return to the underworld directly. Instead, he came to the Dragon Eye. He stared at the Dragon Eye for a long time, then slowly reached out and touched it. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The Dragon Eye seemed to have met its master and made a cheerful sound. You're finally awake. Ming gently stroked it. She won't know. Even if she knows, she won't be angry. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The Dragon Eye rubbed against his hand. Actually, I was thinking that if I told her the truth, she would help me go to the chaotic world. But I'm not sure. After a pause, he continued, although this method is a bit unfair to Wu Ling Yu, he did get your power. Buzz, buzz, buzz. I know if I don't light you up, the river of forgetfulness will be in danger. I knew she wouldn't let me down. What Ming said at the bottom of the river was something that Sima Yue had never thought of. Out of her trust in Ming, she never thought that he would go through so much trouble to ask her to do this. She was not the only one who thought of it. Even Huan and Black Shadow did not know the twists and turns in this matter. Ming did not intend to let anyone know. This did not affect his love for Sima Yue, so there was no need to tell them. Especially now that he saw how much she valued Wu Ling Yu, he did not dare to say anything. Sima Yue did not think about whether she had been set up by Ming, but she also had doubts in her heart. Why would the Dragon Eye split into two? It was as if it was prepared to split into two from the beginning. However, when she saw some clues, she gave up on thinking about it. No matter what the starting point was, no matter what the process was, she only wanted this result now. She guessed that they should have gone to the imperial capital to prepare for the competition between the dynasties. So she did not return a vast region and went directly to the imperial capital. They found the nearest city and prepared to find a teleportation array to go to the imperial capital. However, when he arrived, he was informed that the teleportation array was broken and could not be used for the time being. He could only go to another city to use the teleportation array. Sima Yue and the other three were confused, but they did not say anything. Because it was getting late, they asked the person in charge of the teleportation portal for the nearest inn and prepared to rest for the night before leaving. After they left, the steward greeted the others. He glanced in the direction where Sima Yue had left and turned to walk in the opposite direction. Not long after, an exclamation was heard from one of the houses. Are you saying that the person is really Sima Yue? Yes, master. I'm very sure that woman is Sima Yue. Standing opposite the master was the manager of the teleportation portal. Are you sure? Master, there is a rumor in the ghost realm that Sima Yue has come to the ghost realm, and she looks very similar to the Dark Princess. The woman I saw today looked very similar to the Dark Princess. The manager replied, We suffered a great loss because of that incident. If we really met her, Then we must not let her go this time. The master slapped the armrest of the chair. He was very angry when he thought of that incident. When they received the news that the passage to the human realm was about to be opened, they also wanted to get a share of the profits, so they put in a lot of effort. However, they did not expect that all the people they sent would be annihilated. At first, they thought that the human realm had already received the news, so they let all the people from the Ghost Clan die there. However, when they went to investigate later, they found out that everything was going smoothly, but in the end, it was all ruined by Sima Yue alone. When the news spread to the Ghost Realm, those who were involved in this incident were all furious and deeply remembered her. Once she came to the Ghost Realm, they must make her pay the price. In the past, when she was in the human realm, they could not do anything to her. But now, she was right in front of their eyes. She had delivered herself to their doorstep for them, to take their revenge. Do you know where she is right now? The master asked the manager. I've already sent people to follow her. The manager replied, Master, should we, since she's already here, how can we miss such a good opportunity? Send 10 people, no, send 20 people. I don't believe that she can be as arrogant in the ghost realm as she was in the human realm. At this moment, another old man in the room spoke up. Master, this Sima Yue is the Ghost King's granddaughter. If we do anything to her, will we offend the Ghost King? The Ghost King doesn't even want to acknowledge this granddaughter, right? He could even capture and kill his most beloved princess of the Dark Night, let alone her who has half-human blood. The old master coldly snorted. He felt that the Ghost King wouldn't care about a human granddaughter like her. Master, although that is the case, the Ghost King is the king who rules the Ghost Realm. Although he might not like this granddaughter now, she still has the royal bloodline. If we kill her, what if he remembers one day and wants to settle the score with us? The old man advised. Then according to your words, we shouldn't do this? The master's face darkened. The previous incident had caused them to suffer heavy losses. Several talented juniors had died in that incident. Now that he knew that Sima Yue was here, if he did not take revenge, the fire in his heart would never be extinguished. No, of course we will take revenge, but we can't do it here. The old man said, once they leave our sphere of influence with so many enemies, who would know who killed them? You're saying we should announce her whereabouts? After the previous incident, I'm sure many people want to kill her. As long as everyone knows her whereabouts, can she still stay in the ghost realm? The old man revealed a sinister smile. At that time, there will be many people who want to fish in troubled waters. If she dies, no one will know who killed her. Even if the Ghost King remembers her in the future and wants to seek justice for her, can he kill everyone in the ghost realm? Master, the old man is right. If they die in the city, everyone will know that we killed them. If it's outside, it will save us a lot of trouble. The steward agreed with the old man's idea. After the master pondered for a while, he nodded and said, let's do it this way. Spread the news that Sima Yue is here. I think many teleportation arrays will be broken. As long as the news was spread, even if they didn't do it, Sima Yue wouldn't be able to live. Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu were in the inn. When they heard the news, they sighed helplessly. At that time, she knew that the incident in Fair Eastern City would bring trouble to her trip to the Ghost Realm. Now it seemed that it was just as they thought. However, how did these people know that she was in the Ghost Realm? Chapter 1890. 1 second to remember, love divided by you. Read book web. Update fast. No pop-up window, free to read. It was not that she did not expect the news of her coming to the Ghost Realm to be leaked. What she did in Liao City before, although it was hidden, she was not completely sure that it would not arouse suspicion. Since CD would suspect her, there would naturally be others who would suspect her. What she was more concerned about now was how the news spread here and whether the people outside knew that she was Sima Yue. If they knew that Sima Yue was Murong Shi, would they find trouble with Murong Hui? Are you worried about your adoptive father? Wu Lingyu asked. Yes, if they know that I'm Murong Shi and that Murong Hui has covered for me for so many years, I'm afraid that they will vent their anger on him. The incident that year was so big that the ghost clan that came over was almost completely wiped out. At that time, my cousin and the others secretly came and told me that the ghost clan hated me. MOU also said that the incident caused a lot of trouble in the ghost realm. Now that they know that I'm here, it's okay to look for me, but I'm afraid that they will look for my adoptive father. Sima Yue was a little worried. This matter is not simple. Don't you have me here? As long as you and Mu Rong, she appear the same time, won't it be fine? But they have seen Xiao He and He Yin. At that time, as long as they see He Yin and the others here, they will be exposed. Sima Yue sighed. We can't let Xiao He and He Yin and the others not appear, right? Or we can only make your adoptive father so strong that no one dares to provoke him. Even if they know that he has helped you before, they won't dare to do anything to him. Sima Yue sighed. That's the only way. But these are still unknown. We have to solve the problem at hand first. Miss, let's kill the person who spread the news. As long as the news is not spread, no one will know that it's you. Black Shadow suggested. Even if the entire force is destroyed, it's useless. Sima Yue rejected his idea. Their news was given to them by others. Since others can give it to them, naturally, they will give it to others. But we still can't be sure who spread it, and we don't know if this news has spread in the ghost realm. There's no point in killing 1 or 2 messengers. Then what should we do? Do you want the news to spread? We'll deal with whatever comes our way. If anyone dares to bump into us, I'll make sure they won't be able to return. Sima Yue snorted. If they wanted to take his life, that would depend on whether they had the ability to do so. After a peaceful night, they checked out and left the next morning. Before he left, he asked the shopkeeper for the location of the nearest city with a teleportation array. Our place is very remote. The shopkeeper said, if you want to use the teleportation array, the nearest city will take half a month, and you'll still need to use a good flying beast. Moreover, there are many dangers along the way. If you use our flying beasts, you can avoid those dangers. Do you have any flying beasts for rent? Sima Yue asked. I don't have any here, but there are some at the East City Gate. That shop's flying beasts are much better than others. The shopkeeper said. I got it. Thank you, shopkeeper. Sima Yue replied, returned the key, took the deposit, and left. Along the way to the east of the city, they saw a shop that rented flying beasts when they were about to leave the city gate. Miss, should we rent it? Black Shadow asked. It was obvious that those people purposely pointed it out to them. If they rented the flying beasts here, their journey would not be peaceful. Sima Yue smiled. Of course. If we don't rent it, how can we let them know where we are? They came to the shop and said that they wanted to go to Kuei City. The shopkeeper eagerly introduced a few different flying beasts to them. Sima Yue chose the cheapest flying beast, paid the price, and brought the flying beast out of the city. Shopkeeper, don't tell me these people found out? Otherwise, why would they choose the cheapest flying beast? This kind of flying beast takes half the time to reach to Kuei City. The shopkeeper voiced out his doubts. If someone wanted to kill them, wouldn't it be more dangerous for them to be on the road for a longer time? You're thinking too much. If they knew that someone wanted to kill them, they would choose the best flying beast to shorten the time on the road. The shopkeeper's face was filled with murderous intent. His most beloved son had been killed in Fair Eastern City. Now that he knew that it was revenge for what happened back then, he couldn't wait to kill Sima Yue with his own hands. Go spread the news. He ordered the shopkeeper and turned to enter the inner hall. However, after the shopkeeper spread the news, he was nowhere to be found. The flying beast's speed was unusually slow. After flying for a day, they did not fly far. They were bored in the beast carriage, so they took out a self-made mahjong set and started playing. When the sky turned dark, the flying beast found a place to stop. It was obvious that it wanted to rest. This flying beast is really big. It stopped without our permission. Sima Yue opened the door and saw a dense forest. She sighed. It's really a good place for an ambush. Huan and the others also got down from the beast carriage. When they heard her words, they lowered their heads and agreed. This is also a good place to fight back. We're not far away. Will those people make a move here? Black Shadow's thoughts were simpler. Since they wanted to avoid suspicion, they naturally had to stay away. They can say that it's not them. They were killed by someone else. Anyway, there are no witnesses. Sima Yue said, since they chose this place for us, we shouldn't waste their good intentions. Let's camp here. The three men set up the tent, while she was in charge of preparing food. Soon, they were eating around the fire. Even after they had finished eating, those people still hadn't arrived. Just as the Black Shadow was wondering if those people would come, there was finally some movement. I didn't expect that we would meet again so soon. Sima Yue threw the chicken leg bone on the table, wiped her mouth and hands with a handkerchief, and said lightly, the person who came did not expect Sima Yue to find him so easily. Although he was surprised, he still came out of the space. It was the shopkeeper of the Flying Beast rental shop. The shopkeeper saw that she did not change and snorted coldly. You're not surprised at all. What's there to be surprised about? When you saw me during the day, although you restrained yourself, your eyes still betrayed you. I just didn't expect that you would have no scruples and come so early. Sima Yue was still very calm in the face of his killing intent. She did not put him and his people in her eyes at all. You killed my son. I couldn't wait to kill you. Now I'll kill you and avenge my son. Chapter 1891. In 1 second, she remembered Love Divided by You. Read book, webno pop-up windows, free to read. He looked extremely resentful and looked at Sima Yue with undisguised hatred. He wished he could eat her flesh and drink her blood. But this did not affect Sima Yue at all. If you wanted to kill me, you should have sent more people. Sima Yue said, with so few people, it's not even enough to fill the gaps between their teeth. It's good to be confident, but overconfident. Bang, bang. Before the shopkeeper could finish his words, he saw a black shadow flash by, and all the people he brought with him had their throats slit and fell behind him. With such little strength, you still dare to come here. TSK, TSK. Your courage is commendable. Huan flashed in front of him. Before he could react, he felt a chill on his neck and watched his blood spurt out. He widened his eyes and looked at his blood in disbelief. He reached out to cover it, but it was in vain. Blood still flowed out from between his fingers. The rapid loss of life finally made him understand at the last moment. He had been killed before he could do anything. As for the girl that he hated so much, she didn't even move a single finger. After Huan finished dealing with the people, he burned the bodies clean. Even the blood in the soil evaporated. It was impossible to tell that someone had just died here. When the flying beast saw that its shopkeeper had been killed, it lay on the ground and trembled. Feeling a few gazes, it buried its head in the soil and did not dare to come out. It was so scared. Woo woo woo. Sima Yue saw it like this, and the corners of her mouth twitched. Why did she feel that this flying beast was a little funny? Don't worry, I won't kill you for the time being. If you obediently send us to the Kuei city later, you can come back alive. Otherwise, you can only accompany your shopkeeper. When the big bird heard her words, it raised its head in surprise. Its furry head was still covered in dust. If you don't clean yourself up, I'll roast you right now. Sima Yue said in disdain. Whoosh! The flying beast immediately disappeared from her sight. Its speed was much faster than during the day. For the next few days, the flying beasts behaved themselves and didn't cause them any trouble. The flying beast obediently told Sima Yue all the requirements that it had been told. Sima Yue ordered it to fly as planned. If he didn't follow the plan, how could he let those people know his whereabouts? On this day, they were surrounded again. Let me do it this time. After the Black Shadow finished speaking, he didn't even give them time to talk nonsense and directly attacked. Those people were prepared to show off in front of Sima Yue and enjoy her fear when she was alive. However, they were all killed before they could even say a word. When the flying beast saw that the Black Shadow was so powerful, it secretly rejoiced in its heart. Fortunately, it had told them. Otherwise, it would have been killed. Miss, these people are all weak. Can't you send someone stronger? Black Shadow complained after he returned. This is just the beginning. Not many people know about this yet. Furthermore, the distance between them was very far. When the time comes, there will be plenty of time for you to make a move. Sima Yue didn't think that it would always be like this. The further they went, the more powerful the people they would encounter. If it was just like this, it would be difficult for them to deal with just a few people. Moreover, when there were more people, it would be difficult for Huan and Black Shadow to make a move. Miss, when the king left, he said that we must ensure your safety and don't worry about anything else. Black Shadow repeated Ming's words, but changed the meaning in the middle. Huan also nodded in agreement. Wasn't that what the king meant when he told them to be more flexible? Don't worry, I'm here. Wu Lingyu put his arm around her shoulder and said softly. Sima Yue hadn't seen Wu Lingyu's real appearance and didn't know how strong he was. However, she believed in him. Since he said not to worry, then she wouldn't worry. When they arrived at the Kuei city, she thought that they would encounter a situation where the teleportation array was broken. She didn't expect that the teleportation array here was fine, but there weren't many places to go. When the other party heard that they were going to the nearest city to the imperial capital, they received a large sum of money and let them enter the teleportation array. It wasn't until they came out that they realized that perhaps it would be better if the teleportation array was broken. When they came out of the space, they didn't know which desolate mountain they were in, and there were many underworld beasts. Hearing the roars all over the mountains, she felt that they had probably fallen into the nest of the underworld beasts. Just when the underworld beasts were about to attack, Wu Lingyu opened a space channel and disappeared from the eyes of the underworld beasts. When they came out again, they were in a nearby city. When they entered the city and asked around, they found that this place was indeed closer to the imperial capital, so they didn't go in the opposite direction, right? It was just that they probably didn't expect that those underworld beasts didn't play any role, and Wu Lingyu directly led them out. This city was the closest city to the imperial capital. Sima Yue wanted to go directly to the teleportation array, but when she saw the long line, she felt that it was impossible to leave. Sure enough, when they went to ask, the person in charge of the teleportation array directly took out a wooden sign. 3 days later, use this to line up. 3 days? So long. The steward looked up at them and stroked his little beard, then pointed at the people in the line and said, "Do you see those people? Those are the people who came to line up 4 days ago. You still have 3 days' worth in front of you." Everyone was speechless. There were actually so many people here who wanted to use the teleportation array, and the line was 3 or 4 days long. I say, do you want to line up? If not, hurry up and get out of the way, there's still people behind. Sima Yue paid the money and left with the wooden sign. The steward hooked his finger at the person next to him, asking that person to replace him, and then he left because they had to wait for 3 days. They want to find an inn to stay, planning to walk around the city in these 3 days to see if they could attract some bees back. However, they didn't attract any bees, but they met an acquaintance. Miss Muron. When Yu Tianran saw Sima Yue, he quickly chased after her. Sima Yue didn't know many people in the underworld, but she still remembered this Yu Tianran. He was defeated by her, and he lost openly. However, she didn't have the intention to reminisce about old times with him, but asked, "Are you calling me? Miss Muron, don't you remember me? I'm Yu Tianran. I'm sorry, I don't think we've met before. You're not Muron Shi?" Yu Tianran looked at her in astonishment. It was obviously the same face, but this unfamiliar feeling made it seem like they were not the same person. Muron Shi? Who is she? I thought you were someone I knew, and wanted to tell you about the people from vast region being hunted down. So I've got the wrong person. Sorry, goodbye. Yu Tianran turned and left. Sima Yue's expression didn't change, but her heart sank. Something happened to the people from vast region. Chapter 1892. In 1 second, she remembered, love divided by you. Read book, web quick update. No pop-up window, free to read. Wu Lingyu patted her shoulder. Don't worry. Let's see what's going on first. Okay. Sima Yue called out a few scarlet bees and let them follow her silently. Tianran, do you know that person? Yu Qianran's friend saw that Yu Tianran was a little disappointed and asked. I was wrong, but the two of them really look alike. If it wasn't for their different auras, I would really think that they are the same person. Yu Tianran sighed. Who are you talking about? It's the Murong Shi that I mentioned to you before, Yu Tianran said. Ever since she left in the middle of the last region competition, no one has seen her again. I don't know what happened to the people of Vast Region recently, but they have been being hunted down. I thought that person was Murong Shi, so I wanted to remind her, but I was wrong. It's strange. Did Vast Region get into big trouble recently? Especially the people of the Duke Manor. They feel like they're being killed when they go out. Do you know the reason? Someone asked curiously. Who knows? We haven't seen those people. I have heard some news. A man with a mustache said. What? Quickly tell us. Speaking of which, it might really be related to that person just now. The mustache man kept them in suspense. Seeing that everyone was glaring at him, he continued. Do you know that the Dark Princess went to the human world that year? Of course. It was because she went to the human world that she was caught, and there was no news of her ever since. However, this was many years ago. Why are you bringing this up now? Rumor has it that the young miss of Vast Region, Murong Shi, looks 70 to 80% similar to the Dark Princess, and the Dark Princess once had a daughter in the human world who looked very similar to Murong Shi. Not only that, she also has a grudge with most of the people in the ghost world. The mustache man said. Mustache man, is what you said true? Everyone knew that the mustache man was well informed. Although they asked this, they were certain in their hearts. Could it be that the person just now was the daughter of the Dark Princess in the human world? Yu Tianran was flabbergasted. If that was the case, then it made sense why their auras were so different. What he did not know was that it was not because of the two of them, but because after the incident in the chaotic world, Sima Yuyue's aura had been affected by the chaotic chi and had changed. Since that person is the daughter of the Dark Princess, why does she have a grudge with the people of the Ghost Festival? You don't know about this, do you? Have you heard of the Fair Eastern City incident? I've heard of it before. It said that they were about to open up a passage to the human realm. In the end, they were stopped by someone. Everyone who went there was wiped out. You're saying that the daughter of the Dark Princess is that human from Fair Eastern City? That's right, it's her. We all know how big the impact of that incident was back then. Now that we know that she has come to the ghost realm, don't you think that this is a big deal? Moreover, Murong Shi and that woman look the same. Who knows if they really look alike, or if they're the same person? The mustache man said with interest. He liked to watch a good show. There would definitely be a good show to watch. So, those people went to find trouble with Vast Region? Yu Tianran reacted. The main thing is that Murong Shi hasn't appeared for a long time, right? The mustache man said, the more she doesn't appear, the more suspicious it is. Murong Hui brought people to follow her to the imperial capital, right? They were chased on the way to the imperial capital. I'm afraid they haven't reached the imperial capital yet. Yu Tianran said the last time I heard the news, it was in Wei City. Wei City, Sima Yue asked someone to inquire about it. It was not very close to the Kuei City, but it was also not far. She didn't know if they would still be there after going there. Since you're worried, then let's go and see. Even if they're not there, we can still find their route. Wu Lingyu said. Anyway, it didn't have a fixed route. Since they were all going to the imperial capital, it would be the same if they followed Murong Hui's route. After making the decision, they didn't even retreat from the inn. They directly used the space channel to leave the city. They found an open space, calculated the space coordinates according to the distance on the map, arranged a transmission array, and rushed over. As they expected, when they went there, they didn't find Murong Hui's whereabouts. They continued to chase according to the news they got. After arranging several transmission arrays in a row, her array stones were almost exhausted. She had to find a place to buy array stones and continue to chase. In the ghost realm, the price of array stones was extremely expensive. This was also the reason why she wanted to use the transmission array instead of arranging it herself. Now, in order to find Murong Hui, she had also spent a lot of money. Fortunately, these were not in vain. She finally caught up with Murong Hui before he had an accident. At that time, Murong Hui was fleeing with the people of Vast Region in the Song Mountains. Those people came in waves, making them tired to deal with them. They could only keep running to buy time. These people were all coming for Sima Yue. He knew this, so he didn't think about saying anything to these people. If they insisted on him handing over the person, where could he find her? And even if he knew, he wouldn't say anything. These people were too powerful. If they found her, he didn't know what would happen. Murong Hui, I'll give you one last chance. Where is Sima Yue? The people chased them into a small valley and surrounded them from all sides, leaving them with no way to escape. Murong Hui had long been prepared to fight to the death. At this moment, he didn't panic. I've already said that I don't know Sima Yue. Even if you ask 10 more times, I still can't hand her over to you. Murong Hui's face was calm as he estimated the possibility of rushing out in his heart. Murong Hui, let's be frank. Your daughter is just a waste. How could she become a genius in a few years and enter the top 10 of the region competition? She looks the same as your daughter. How likely do you think this is? The people who came to investigate Murong Hui's affairs were almost finished. My daughter is naturally the best. You have to put her and Sima Yue together. What else do I have to say? Murong Hui snorted. You don't have the person, but you do have a life. If we catch you, aren't you afraid that Sima Yue won't come for you? The people who came sneered and waved their hands. Leave Murong Hui alive and kill the others. I'm sorry for involving you. I'll hold them back for a while. You try to escape. Do. Master. We'll protect you. Don't say anything more. You heard it too. They won't take my life. Your lives are more important. Murong Hui reprimanded. Oof. None of you can leave today. All of you attack. Leave no one else alive. Just when the two sides were about to fight, a clear voice came. If you want to kill me, come and find me directly. What's the use of these tricks behind my back? Chapter 1893. 1 second to remember, love divided by you. Read book web, update fast, no pop-up window, free to read. Murong Hui's eyes lit up when he heard this voice. But then he started to worry again, wishing that he didn't hear this. Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu came out of the space tunnel. What was shocking was that there were two identical versions of her. Father, Mier, who was disguised as Murong Shi, saw Murong Hui and flew over, throwing herself into his arms. Murong Hui was stunned. He looked at Mier, then looked at Sima Yue. Duke Murong, if it wasn't for your daughter coming to find me, I wouldn't know that I've brought you so much trouble. Sima Yue said apologetically. You are? Murong Hui was stunned. The sudden appearance of these two people, and something about Murong, she going to look for her. How could he not understand what was going on? And why was her aura different? Where did this person who looked exactly like her come from? Sima Yue looked around at the people below, the corner of her mouth raised, and said confidently, I'm the Sima Yue they're looking for. Sima Yue, you're finally willing to appear. The other party looked at Sima Yue with hatred. I've been walking outside. It's just that you didn't have the ability to find me. But then again, how could a capable person implicate the innocent, thinking of using such a sinister method to lure me out? Sima Yue looked at the other party contemptuously. I've killed a lot of people recently. Same old rules. Report your names. Hu Dynasty's In family, In Shi. The leading man reported his name. Sima Yue, you killed my brother. Today I'll use your name to pay tribute to him. Hu Dynasty's In family. I'm sorry, I've never heard of it. Sima Yue said. Sai, since you want to take revenge on me, let's not talk so much nonsense. I hate it when people use such despicable methods. Xiao Qi, Hua Hua, you two play with them. Little Seven and Hua Hua came out. Without saying a word, they went up and attacked. In addition, Black Shadow and the others had deliberately held back, so those people were not killed immediately. In the end, a small number of them managed to escape. There's no need to chase after them, Sima Yue said when she saw that the people from Vast Region still wanted to chase after them. As she gave the order, those people subconsciously stopped. Then, he realized why he had to listen to her. There's no need to chase. Murong Hui said so, and everyone really stopped. Prince Murong, may I have a word with you? Sima Yue asked. A class equals underscore CF for email underscore ref equals slash CDNCGI slash L slash email protection data female equals 10 CD 9F 50 DBA 5 email protected. Morong Hui had questions in his heart and wanted to ask her, so he asked the rest of the people to clean up the bodies, and he and Murong Lin followed Sima Yuiwe to a farther place. Of course, Mier had been holding his hand and followed them, and only let go when they were far away. Chier, what's going on? Morong Hui looked at Sima Yuiwe, not Mier beside him. Sima Yuiwe didn't expect that her aura had changed, and there was a Mier beside her who was the same as before, but he still recognized her at once. Mu? A class equals underscore for email underscore ref equals slash CDNCI slash L slash email protection data female equals 4499 CB0492E email protected. Knew what she was thinking and said, "The way you look at me is the same as before, and although her aura is the same as yours before, even holding hands is a little unnatural. Father, you really know me." Sima Yue smiled and admitted her identity. Murong Lin on the side looked at Sima Yue in shock. "This is the miss? Then who is this person beside her?" "Miss, where have you been this year? Why are there two of you?" He asked his doubts. "This is the illusion of my contracted beast." Sima Yue talked about what happened after she left the River of Forgetfulness, and then continued. "I'll let Mier follow you for the rest of the time. First, to protect your safety, and second, to temporarily remove your relationship with me. As long as Mier and I appear at the same time, they will not come to you again. When they become stronger in the future, even if they know that it is me, they will not have the courage to find trouble again. So you let those people go? Well, when they escape this time, they will definitely spread the news of my appearance here, and the fact that Mier and I appear at the same time will also be spread, so that they know that you and I are not related. Sima Yue has never been merciful to the people who killed her. If it weren't for this, would those people still want to escape alive?" Huahua and Little Seven were the first to disagree. "What about you?" Murong Hui frowned. "If those people want to kill you, and you just appear like this, how many people will come to kill you? It doesn't matter. When the news spreads, I will appear in front of people a few times with you, and then we will go our separate ways." Sima Yue said, "I'm not talking about you. If you appear like this, if those people come to kill you, Father, don't worry, they are here." Sima Yue glanced at the person behind her. "Huan has never shown his face with me before, so others won't associate him with me. As for Black Shadow, needless to say. Also, Father, this is Ling Yu. He also came to the Ghost Realm." Murong Hui had heard Sima Yue mention Wu Lingyu a long time ago, but she only said that he was his senior brother and did not say that he was from the Devil Realm. But wasn't he in the human realm? Why did he come to the Ghost Realm? "He came to the Ghost Realm to find me." Sima Yue looked at Wu Lingyu happily and bowed to Murong Hui. Although Murong Hui's status was not high, and his strength was not very strong because he was someone she recognized, he also recognized him and bowed seriously. Good. Although Murong Hui didn't know what Wu Lingyu had experienced, it must not have been easy. To be able to do this for her, it meant that he was also a trustworthy person. "Father, then let's pack up and go back to the city. We can talk about other things later," Sima Yue suggested. Just as she thought, after the Yin clansmen escaped, they immediately returned to the city and hid. On one hand, they contacted the clan to ask for reinforcements. On the other hand, they spread the news that Sima Yue was here. Many people were tracking the whereabouts of Sima Yue. Now that they knew that she was here, there would naturally be people who would come to settle accounts with her. However, the fact that Sima Yue and Murong Shi appeared at the same time really surprised others for a while. At the same time, it also made those who wanted to make a move on Murong Hui give up. When Sima Yue and the others returned to the city, Shi and Wu Lingyu were together, and Mier was holding Murong Hui's wrist as before. The two very similar people walked together, causing a commotion at the city gate. Sima Yue wanted to stay for a while longer, but when she saw the commotion at the city gate, she proposed to Murong Hui, "Duke Murong, now that we are in the city, we will take our leave." Murong Hui wanted to ask her to stay, but he also found that it was not suitable here. In the eyes of everyone, he and Sima Yue should not be familiar with each other. He nodded and watched Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu leave together. Chapter 1894. Father, let's find an inn to stay at. You, Uncle Lin, and the people in the county are all injured. We can forget about going to the imperial capital for 2 days. Mier shook his arm to get his attention. She saved us. If there's a chance, we must repay her well. Do you understand? Murong Hui said this to express his attitude. If something happened to Sima Yue, vast region would also help. I know. Let's go and thank her later. Healing your wounds is more important. Mier's performance was no different from Sima Yue in the past. Most people would not be able to tell that it was a different person. On the other side, Sima Yue and the other 3 went to the biggest inn and asked for the best room. Black Shadow and Huan went to their respective rooms, and Wu Lingyu escorted her to her room. I don't think it'll be peaceful tonight. Wu Lingyu leaned against the door. Why don't I join you? Sima Yue placed her hand on his chest and smiled. Stop it. If you're here, why would those people come? It's the same. I'll just restrain my aura. What if those people come and we don't make it in time? Wu Lingyu squeezed through her door and climbed on her bed. He lay on his side and looked at her. Excuse. Sima Yue rolled her eyes, but she still closed the door, silently agreeing to let him stay tonight. What a waste of my room money. How about I pay the debt with my body? This way you won't lose out. Wu Lingyu said with a smile. I'm going to call my father out. Sima Yue pursed her lips and smiled. This guy was clearly the last line of defense, yet he still dared to say such words. He was asking for a beating. Sure enough, after hearing what she said, he smiled embarrassedly, but he still patted the empty seat in front of him, indicating for her to go over. Sima Yue walked over. He reached out and pulled her to lie down in front of him. He took advantage of the situation and hugged her from behind. Yu, I want to contact the Devil Realms people here. Wu Lingyu said. Why do you want to contact them? Sima Yue played with his fingers and asked casually. Now that I've contacted them, I'll be able to go directly when it's time to save mother-in-law. That's fine too, but you have to make sure that they are still loyal to you. If the news of you being in the ghost realm spreads, and the Devil King does something to your body in the Devil Realm, or takes the opportunity to do something to your people, it will be troublesome. Okay, the 2 of them then chatted about other things. In the middle of the night, there was finally some movement. Are you sure she's here? Of course I'm sure. The best room they're staying in is the courtyard at the back. It's quite far from other places. Go and surround that courtyard. Don't let her escape. A group of people flew over, but before they could surround the courtyard, Black Shadow and Huan appeared. After waiting for so long, it's finally here. Black Shadow glanced at those people and said with some disappointment, Why are there always people of this level? Every time I get excited, I break off. Those people did not expect that they would be discovered as soon as they arrived. They had already restrained their auras, but these 2 people still appeared immediately, as if they were waiting for them. Let's just do it. Huan was less talkative and directly attacked. Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu were in the room, listening to the movements outside. She turned around and poked his chest with her finger. Didn't you say that if you were here, you would be able to detect danger earlier? Huan and the others have all gone out. What are you still doing here? I'm responsible for protecting you inside. I'm enough here. Wu Lingyu grabbed her hand and bit it. Sima Yue glared at him and muttered, You're old and indecent. Although I'm indecent, I'm not old yet. I know that you want to be with me until we're old. Well, when we're old, I'll let you see my old and indecent side. Sima Yue, she really wanted to ask, Where's your shame? Wu Lingyu was calm, but she could not stay in the room and ignore it. She got up and Wu Lingyu got up with her. The 2 opened the door and came to the courtyard. The enchantment isolated the power of the battle outside, so they did not need to do anything. Sima Yue. Seeing her, the people in the air gritted their teeth. Sima Yue glanced at them and did not give them any expression. She was not to blame for what happened back then. She did not feel that she had done anything wrong. Even if she knew that she had to come to the ghost realm and had to do it all over again, she would make the same choice. And these people had lost their lives because of their greed. Their clansmen and friends wanted to avenge them. She felt that it was understandable. At this time, it all depended on who was stronger. At the same time, she also knew that one of the reasons for this situation was because of the Ghost King's attitude. After Ukaluo was captured and brought back to the Ghost Realm, there was no trace of her. The outside world said that the Ghost King was too disappointed in her and killed her. Since he could even lay his hands on his most beloved daughter, he would definitely not care about this granddaughter of his who had human blood flowing in her. Since that was the case, the Ghost King would not blame them for killing her. That was why they were so daring. If the Ghost King had a little attitude toward her, she would not have fallen to the point where she was being chased by so many people. So, did she really have to look for him? Would he really tell her where her mother was? She did not have much confidence in this grandfather whom she had never met. Wu Lingyu held her hand. Don't be afraid. We'll look for her ourselves. Besides, you should trust your cousin. Although he spent most of his time in the ghost realm in the River of Forgetfulness, he had heard of Deja's name as the god of slaughter. Naturally, he also heard of his relationship with you, Kaluo. Even if the entire ghost realm gave up on her, Deja would not. Yes, Sima Yue nodded. Cousin was able to obtain the 100 Ghost Banner and go to the Immortal Land to collect the ancient souls in order to save my mother. He can naturally be trusted. I'm just afraid that there are some forces that he can't compete with. At this moment, Deja was furious at the news he received. Di Lu and the rest were below. They did not dare to breathe too hard, afraid that they would attract his attention. This Yue, how could she be so careless? She actually exposed her whereabouts. Have you found out what I asked you to investigate? Who was the one who released the news of her coming to the Ghost Realm? It's Anaheim's doing. Di Lu stiffened his neck and said, during the Great Yu Dynasty's county competition last year, Mrs. Performance was too outstanding and she happened to encounter that incident, so she was connected. Anaheim is naturally suspicious. She felt that it was not Murong Shi. Even if there was no evidence, she would still kill Mississippi. But because Murong Shi's position in the Great Yu Dynasty is not low, and Great Yu Wangye is not one of her people, so she came up with such a method. Chapter 1895. Bang! Deja slammed his palm on the tea table beside him and said through gritted teeth, This Anaheim, sooner or later, I'll kill her. Master, let's talk about Anaheim later. Miss is in a very bad situation now. Di Lu said, Our subordinates reported that Miss has already encountered several assassination attempts. Anaheim has been moving a lot lately. You guys stay here and keep an eye on her. Di Lu, you come with me. I want to see who dares to touch my cousin. Deja waved his hand. But master, if you don't preside over the matters here, I'm afraid it will not be easy to suppress Anaheim. Deja stood out and said. He was in charge of assisting Deja in handling these matters, so he knew the current situation best. Anaheim had been making a lot of moves recently, and many of their hidden forces had been uprooted. Some of the wavering forces had also joined her because of her recent actions. That's right, master. Although young Mrs. situation is a little dangerous, the imperial capital situation is more important. Deer stood out and said. They also liked the Dark Princess, but they had never been in touch with Sima Yue, so they didn't have deep feelings for her. Although they also felt the need to protect her, compared to the current situation, they would rather have Deja stay in the capital. Master, there is less than a year before the competition between the empires begins. Many Wangye had brought their people along. If we let the Anaheim take the initiative and pull the Wangye over, our camp will be much weaker. Sun also opened his mouth. Furthermore, some of the other princes are also restless. Although the Anaheim is suppressing them, they are still restless. Leaving the imperial capital at this time is really not a wise move. If something happens to Yue, then all our efforts over the years will be in vain. Deja's attitude towards his loyal subordinates was slightly better, but his face was still terrifyingly dark. He looked at the Ghost Master, who had been silent all this while, and said, "Ghost Master, what do you think?" The Ghost Master raised his head when he was called, but his face was still hidden under the cloak. "I can understand your love for Sima Yue, and I know you're worried about her current situation. But based on the current situation, you won't be as useful there as you are here," the Ghost Master said slowly. Seeing that Deja was about to get angry, he raised his hand to stop him and continued, "Besides, you are not the most suitable person to pick her up." "I'm not suitable? Could it be that you want Mo Yu to go?" Deja asked. The Ghost Master shook his head. In the eyes of outsiders, Lord Mo Yu has a certain connection with Anaheim, and he hasn't been in the Imperial capital recently. Then who are you talking about? Deja didn't know who was still in contact with Sima Yue and would be willing to go out and pick her up at this time. "Master, you forgot that Miss has other relatives. There is one who has been very concerned about her." The Ghost Master reminded him. "You mean grandfather?" Because Sima Yue didn't agree before, Deja didn't even think of telling the Ghost Master about her after he came back, so he didn't think of him at this time. But grandfather is in seclusion and hasn't appeared for a long time. Because of this, Anaheim has been so rampant recently. The Ghost Master is not in seclusion. As long as you tell him about Sima Yue, he will go if he cares about the Dark Princess. The Ghost Master said. But what if he doesn't go? Deja didn't have 100% confidence in the Ghost Master. "We can let Di-Lu go first. If the king doesn't go, we can also protect Mississippi," the Ghost Master said. "It's hard to say what the king's attitude is about what happened in the past. We can use this opportunity to test his attitude." But Deja was still worried. "Master, with the king's character, even if he doesn't go to find Miss, he won't kill her." The Ghost Master was still confident about the Ghost Master. "Moreover, you said that Miss has some opinions about the king. If the king can go and see her now, it's a good way to break the ice." Deja hesitated for a while, then stood up and said, "Di-Lu, take some people to find Yue now and make sure she's safe. I'll go to the Imperial Palace now and tell grandfather about this." However, it wasn't easy to enter the Imperial Palace. The people guarding the outermost area were Anaheim's people. No matter what the reason was, they didn't want her to go in. Deja just sneered at the people who blocked his way. He pulled out his sword and killed the two people. "I think I've been quiet for too long. That's why you've forgotten my name." After saying this, the guards behind him didn't dare to stop him anymore. They went all the way to the Ghost Master's room. "General, the king is in seclusion. He said that he won't see anyone." This time, it was the king's personal guards who came out. Even Deja didn't dare to kill them. "Please tell grandfather that I have something to talk to him about." Deja politely bowed to the two guards. "General, the king said that he won't see anyone." The guards still stood in the same place. They didn't intend to go in and report. "If you insist, don't blame me for being rude." Deja was worried about Sima Yue's safety. Naturally, he wouldn't be nice to these people who blocked his way. He had already told them nicely. If they didn't agree, he wouldn't mind using peaceful means before resorting to force. "General, we're the king's personal guards." They naturally knew what was going on outside. However, they were different from the people outside. "Master, you can't." He pulled Deja, who was about to go berserk, and shook his head. Deja looked at D.E. and then at the two guards. He pursed his lips and shouted, "Grandfather, I'm here to talk to you about Yue. She's being chased." Just as he finished speaking, the tightly shut door opened. A voice sounded, "Come in." When Anaheim heard the news and rushed over, she only saw Deja's figure entering the room and the door slowly closing. This was the first time Deja entered the Ghost King's cultivation area. He wasn't in the mood to admire the scenery here. He walked along the corridor and arrived at the Ghost King's cultivation area. The Ghost King looked about the same size as Deja. However, when he opened his tightly shut eyes, a powerful aura rushed towards him. "You're saying that Yue is being chased?" The Ghost King asked. "Yes. You're still paying attention to the human realm?" "Grandfather, Yue has already arrived in the ghost realm." Deja saw the Ghost King frowning. He pursed his lips and said, "Yue has already been in the ghost realm for a few years. Everything was fine before. Recently, her identity was announced. Many forces are trying to kill her. From what I know, she has already been chased more than 10 times. I actually didn't know that she had already arrived in the ghost realm. The Ghost King stared at him. His voice was emotionless. Chapter 1896. In 1 second, she remembered love divided by you. Read book, web quick update. No pop-up window. Free to read. Deja knew that the Ghost King was angry. He lowered his head and said softly, "Yue didn't want me to tell you." When he said this, the Ghost King's anger dissipated a lot, and his eyes were sad. "She's blaming me, right?" Deja was silent for a while, and said in a low voice, "She is just not sure. Is that so? Like how you were covered in spikes in the past." The Ghost King didn't look at him, and his eyes were empty. But he didn't plan to let Deja answer him, and continued to ask, "What's the matter you're talking about?" After Yue came to the ghost realm, because she looked like Murong she happened to see Murong being killed, so she used her identity to live in the ghost realm. Deja told him about Sima Yue. Since she has an identity on the surface, why was it exposed? When Yue was in the immortal land, she killed Yu, and the Ghost Empress had sent people to the human realm to kill her. And you know what happened in Fair Eastern City? It was also destroyed by her. Now that people know that she came to the ghost realm, they naturally want to take revenge on her. Deja said, originally, with her identity, those people didn't dare to touch her. But he didn't finish his sentence, but the Ghost King understood what he meant. But because he didn't say anything, and because this news was spread by Anaheim, it represented her attitude. So those people were even more unscrupulous. "I know, you can leave." The Ghost King waved his hand and let him leave. Deja hesitated for a moment and didn't ask if he would go and save Sima Yue, but after he left, he asked people to keep an eye on the situation here. "Master," after you went in, Anaheim came over. He saw him coming out and went forward to say, "That woman." When he mentioned Anaheim, Deja was furious and couldn't wait to kill her immediately. "Master, will the king go and find Miss Yue?" "I don't know. I can't guess my grandfather's thoughts," Deja said, but as the Ghost Master said, even if he doesn't look for her, he won't kill her. At the very least, he didn't sense any killing intent from the Ghost King. "Pay more attention to Dilu. Let me know if there's any news," Deja ordered as he walked out. Dealing with Anaheim is one thing, but her safety is more important. Do you understand? "Yes, Master." Dee knew that Deja was reminding them not to neglect Sima Yue because of the current situation, especially not to hide anything from him. He was actually curious. What was Sima Yue capable of that made his master care so much about her? He thought that the reason was definitely not just because she was Yu Koluo's daughter. On the other side of the palace, Anaheim looked at the guard who came to report and snorted. "This Deja is always going against me, and the Ghost King actually allows him to do as he pleases. I don't know why he came in this time. You bunch of useless trash. You can't even find out why he came in." "Ghost Queen, please calm down." After he went in, the king personally set up a barrier. "We can't hear what's going on inside." The two guards outside are also the king's men. "They can't reveal anything to us." The guard who was kneeling on the ground was very nervous. He didn't know how he would be punished. Anaheim obviously knew that the barrier was set up by the Ghost King. She saw it with her own eyes, so she was even angrier. The guard who couldn't find out anything was naturally angered. "Useless trash." With a wave of her hand, the guard immediately flew out and hit the wall, leaving behind a pool of blood and a lifeless corpse. The palace maids in the palace calmly came up to clean up the corpse. They were already used to this kind of thing. A man who sat below waited for the guard's corpse to be moved out. When he saw that Anaheim had vented some of her anger, he said, "Ghost Queen, please calm down. This Deja won't be able to jump around for long. Don't be angry because of him. Wait until we catch all those Wanya in our hands. I don't need to do anything for the Deja. The D-Clan will come out and take care of him." Anaheim said, "Ghost Queen is wise." The man said, "Ghost Queen, that Sima Yue has already appeared. Are you sure it's her and not Morongshi?" Anaheim asked. It's her. Murong, she appeared with her, so I can confirm her identity. The man said, appeared together? It seems like this Mu. A class equals underscore CF underscore email underscore ref equals slash CDNCGI slash L slash email protection. Data female equals 1 AC 7955 AC 888. Email protected, couldn't withstand the pressure from those people. Are they together? No. It seems that they're not familiar with each other. They separated after entering the city. This SEMA US seems to be protected by experts. Those who went to assassinate her, none of them survived. She just came to the ghost world not long ago, right? How can there be experts protecting her? Can you tell which side they are from? Anaheim did not expect that SEMA US would have someone by her side. Under the situation where she released the news, there were still people who dared to protect her. It seemed that they were tired of living. However, the man was silent. Anaheim's face sank. You don't know? Ghost Queen, it's not that the people below are incompetent. It's just that those people did not use any force that we know of. You mean the people around her are not from the ghost world? It shouldn't be. It said that those two people also used ghost chi. It's not from the human world or the devil world. The man did not see it with his own eyes, so he was not very sure. Ghost Queen, I want to personally go and see where those two people came from. Blue River. You can go, but you have to pay attention to your own safety. If something happens to you, there won't be anyone to train such a good death soldier for me. Anaheim said. Blue River, as Anaheim's right-hand man, was in charge of training the undead and other things that could not be exposed. If something happened to him, it would be a great loss for her. I know. Blue River cherished his own life. I'll bring more people. Bring those people with you. If the people protecting her aren't normal people, it'll be easier to deal with them. Anaheim warned. Blue River knew who she was talking about and nodded, I know. Then you can go. Anaheim waved her hand. Blue River stood up and withdrew. Anaheim sat alone in the main hall. She took out a bell and gently stroked it. Do air. Mother will definitely avenge you. My pitiful child, you were killed at such a young age. Hateful that slut only had one daughter, Ukaluo. What kind of family background did she have? Mother didn't even have the chance to avenge you. However, fortunately, you left Mother with something to remember. Your child has already grown up and looks like you. It's just that he always asks me why he didn't have a father when he was born. Dor, should Imperial Mother tell him about you? Ghost Queen, not good. A palace maid hastily ran in from outside. Little Highness is missing. Chapter 1897. Prince Udu's posthumous child, the Ghost Empress Darling, the Little Highness of the Ghost race, had disappeared. The entire palace was almost turned upside down. Those who were responsible for taking care of His Highness were beheaded. Many people went in and out of the palace to look for him. The person in question, Yu Hao, was already far away from the imperial capital. Your Highness, it's too dangerous for us to come out like this. Yu Hao's personal bodyguard, Fei Nong, was very worried. What's there to worry about? Doesn't that mean no one knows my identity? Even if we meet with danger, as long as I say Imperial Grandmother's identity, who would dare to be disrespectful to me? Yu Hao was not sensitive to danger, so when he heard the guard mention this, he said impatiently. Just as Anaheim had said, Yu Hao looked very much like his father. His whole body was round and chubby. Although he was a little prince, he was still more than 100 years old. We're leaving just like that. I wonder how the palace is doing. However, if we leave just like that, I'm sure they won't be able to withstand the Ghost Emperor's fury. Yu Hao's personal maid Mo Lu said, those people are all useless. If Grandmother Wang wants to punish them, then punish them. After all, Grandmother Wang will arrange new people for me when I go back. Yu Hao did not have any feelings for the people who had served him for so long. He clearly knew that if he sneaked out, those people would not be able to escape death, but he still did it. But, Your Highness, where are we going? Mo Lu asked. Go find someone. Yu Hao's gaze turned gloomy. Grandmother Wang thought that if she didn't tell me, I wouldn't know how father died. This Sima Yu had dared to kill my father and come to the ghost world. Does she really think that no one can do anything to her? You want to kill Sima Yue? And Mo Lu covered his mouth in shock. But I heard that Sima Yue is very powerful. Many people who went to kill her died. She's only a few years older than me. How powerful can she be? You had to not take Sima Yue seriously at all. He felt that those were just rumors. But the people around him are indeed powerful. Mo Lu said, "What if they accidentally injure His Little Highness? What should we do?" "Don't worry. Grandmother Wang will send someone to protect me if she finds out that I'm missing." Yu Hao could see through Anaheim's heart very clearly. Otherwise, he wouldn't dare to do such a thing. Mo Lu, don't worry. His Highness knows what to do. We just need to take good care of His Highness. Yu Hao's other bodyguard, Sanji, was the most relaxed. As long as he mentioned the young Highness name, who wouldn't know that he was the Ghost Emperor's treasure? Who would dare to make a move on him? Unless they wanted to be exterminated. Wei Lu and Fei Nong couldn't help but worry, but there was nothing they could do. They couldn't dissuade His Highness, and they couldn't stay in the palace. Since he was already out, he could only take one step at a time. Therefore, the fearless four stepped into the abyss step by step. Anaheim soon found out about Yu Hao's whereabouts, but just as Yu Hao thought, she didn't ask anyone to capture him. Instead, she sent a lot of people to protect him. Sima Yue didn't know about the bloody storm in the imperial capital. At this time, she was blocked by a group of people on the road. She didn't know how many times she had been assassinated. Those people didn't learn their lesson. Didn't they know that the people who came before were already dead? Every time they sent these shrimp soldiers, it was really a waste of their energy. Who's going to solve it this time? Sima Yue asked. Huan and Black Shadow didn't move. These people came several times every day, and they were tired of it. The two of them didn't move. Wu Lingyu smiled and said, "Then I'll do it this time." Every time it was the two of them, he should also show off his skills. He flew into the air and looked at those people. He didn't talk nonsense with them. He turned his hands up, and two streams of water came out of his palms. Then the water flow became bigger and bigger. Like two floods, it rushed towards those people and swept them all in. At first, those people didn't put Wu Lingyu's water in their eyes. They thought it was just a simple water attribute spiritual technique. When they were swept in by the water, they found that it was not ordinary water at all. Not only could they not float in it, the water was also aggressive, making them unable to resist at all. What the hell? This guy actually brought the water of the river of forgetfulness. How come I didn't know? Black Shadow looked at Wu Lingyu in horror. He followed him every day. How come he didn't know that he brought the river of forgetfulness with him? This is not the water of the river of forgetfulness. It should be the water of the dragon's eye. Because he has the dragon's eye, he can bring out the water in it at will. Huan guessed. That's true. Sima Yue knew that Huan must have guessed it. Miss, you already knew? Black Shadow asked her. I know, but this is the first time I've seen it. Sima Yue said. I thought it was just a little bit of water. I didn't expect it to be so much. Miss, you already knew, but you didn't tell us. Black Shadow looked at her aggrievedly. Now that she had Wu Lingyu, she didn't tell them anything. Their position in her heart had dropped a lot. Sima Yue glanced at Black Shadow, and he immediately put away his expression, not daring to show any more. Miss is so fierce. Huan turned his gaze to the side in disgust. How embarrassing. Wu Lingyu quickly finished off all the people. When he took back the water, there were only corpses left in the open space, and not a single drop of water was left. When you made your move, the scene was too spectacular. Black Shadow commented, it was flashy but not practical. I agree. Huan nodded. Both of them directly attacked. If you wanted to make such a big scene, it would be useless to make these fancy moves. Yue, you like it? Wu Lingyu defeated the two of them with a single sentence. Sima Yue smiled. I didn't expect it to be so powerful. This Longan is also a good thing. It's quite convenient. Wu Lingyu said, and released a flame, burning all the corpses to ashes. We can go on like this. Sima Yue said, these people come once in a while, and it's so annoying. We have to find a way to solve it all at once. We're almost at the capital. When we get there, there won't be so many people. Wu Lingyu said. Sigh. I didn't expect that I would be hated by everyone. Sima Yue laughed self-deprecatingly. Although I don't think it's a big deal, it's still annoying to hinder the process of saving my mother. Someone's coming. Huan reminded. Again? There's really no end to this. The Black Shadow wailed. However, they soon found that the people who came were not people who wanted to kill Yue, but Murong Hui and the others who they hadn't seen for some time. Mi-Er came back soon after they separated, and Sima Yue didn't know why they were looking for her. Yue, something happened. Mu data, email protected, / ****** came to say this. /26 / 26720 /. Chapter 1898. In 1 second, she remembered Love Divided by You. Read book, webno pop-up window, free to read. Father, what happened? Sima Yue saw his panicked expression and wondered what could make him change his expression. Those people have gathered together and are preparing to attack you together. A class equals ref equals /cdncdi/l/email protection. Email protected, said the news that he had heard. His heart was trembling. Black Shadow and Huan looked at each other. Finally, something powerful was about to happen. Father, don't panic. Sima Yue grabbed his arm and calmed him down. Mu? A class equals _cf email _ref equals /cdncgi/l/email protection. Email protected. Didn't want to panic, but when he thought of the news he received, he couldn't calm down. Yue, those people have gathered a lot of forces. Because too many people have been killed by you recently, when they heard the call, they naturally flocked over. When I received the news, it was said that thousands of people had already gathered. Thousands of people, not dozens or hundreds of people. And that was when he just received the news. Now that a few days had passed, he didn't know how many people had gathered. Just thinking about it sent chills down his spine. Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. It seems that these people are finally willing to use their big move. It wasn't that there weren't any experts among the people who came before, but in front of Huan and Black Shadow, they were not enough. Obviously, they also knew this, and they knew that only Huan and Black Shadow were slightly more powerful. They couldn't have fewer people, but with more people, they could always kill them. Yue, hurry up and run. If they really find you, you'll be in danger. A class equals email ref equals /cci/l/email protection. Datic female equals D758971C62. Email protected. Father, don't be anxious. Sima Yue's calm demeanor made him even more anxious. He wanted to drag her away immediately, but she was really not in a hurry. Not to mention that Huan and the others had the underworld behind them. Even with little Z, she could still escape from the siege of these people. Murong Hui saw that she was not in a hurry, and even the other 3 people were not in a hurry. He sighed and said, Forget it, if you're not in a hurry, I am not in a hurry either. Anyway, I'm following you. Don't even think about pushing me away this time. Father. Sima Yue looked at him emotionally. At this moment, he still chose to be with her. He was handing his life over to her. Don't let me go. A class equals email ref equals /cdnci/l/email protection. Datic female equals for 29FC0286FD. Email protected. Light looked at her firmly. I know what you think. You think that you will drag me down, but I have nothing to be dragged down by anymore. The people I miss most in my life are Shi-Er's mother and her, but both of them are gone now. Fortunately, I have you, so I didn't collapse when I lost Shi-Er. If something happens to you again, then I don't know if I can still hold on. Instead of letting me collapse in the future, it's better to let me fight with you. Father. Sima Yue took his arm. Well, I won't drive you away. You're my adoptive father. Of course I want you to help me. That's right. Murong Hui patted her hand and said, Life and death are not a big deal. It's good to have father. Sima Yue rubbed against his shoulder and said happily, Princess Murong, do you know the time and place of those people? Black Shadow asked. Murong Hui saw their excited look and blurted out, "You can't be thinking of—" Black Shadow nodded. "You're right. It's exactly what you think." Murong Hui, he looked at Yue and the others. Why did he feel that she had become crazy with these people now? Well, since they wanted to be crazy, then let's be crazy together. He had lived for so long. Except for taking Shi-Er's mother, he had never been crazy. Even if he died like this, it would be a crazy death. I heard that they're going to come together in 10 days. The gathering place is not far from here in Yangcheng. Yangcheng. Isn't our next stop Yangcheng? Black Shadow said. In that case, let's go according to the original plan. Okay. Sima Yue felt that this was a good opportunity. Those people always came in waves. If they could solve it once and for all, it would be good to give those people a wake-up call. In the future, if they wanted to come, they would have to first weigh whether they had the ability. It should be a lot quieter later. But, Father, will the people of Vast Region also go? Murong Hui looked at the people of Vast Region. These people had followed him through life and death. This time, in his eyes, there was no way out. If he brought them along, they would definitely die. He could ask to follow Sima Yue, but he couldn't ask others to die with him. However, if they followed, they might be able to win more life for Sima Yue. So for the first time, he hesitated. As a result, before he could speak, the people of Vast Region shouted, "Duke, we are the people of Vast Region in life and in death. We are the ghosts of Vast Region." That's right, I didn't expect it to be Mississippi. We have to protect Miss. Although they didn't quite understand what was going on before, they understood now. Sima Yu was Murong Shi, the young miss who had changed for the better. They were wondering how a person could change after losing her memory. It turned out that it was a different person. But what they liked was her, not her identity. She used to be so good to them. How could they abandon her now because of danger? Sima Yue wanted them not to go with her. But before she could finish, she was interrupted by those people. "Miss, you used to be good to us. If you let us go now, we will fall into a situation of disloyalty. We want to follow you, so let us go together." Gu Zipping said. Sima Yue originally wanted to say that if they didn't go, she would be better. But when she saw them looking at her passionately, as if they were going to die for her, she swallowed the words that were about to come out of her mouth. She looked at Wu Lingyu and the others. Wu Lingyu shrugged. She could do whatever she wanted. She pursed her lips and replied, "All right then, you can follow me, but you must promise that without me, no one can act rashly. If anyone can't do it, then leave as soon as possible. We will listen to Miss." Gu Zipping promised everyone, as long as they could follow her. The Black Shadow stood beside Huan with his hands crossed over his chest. When he saw the excited look on these people's faces, he went up to Huan and said, "Are these people crazy? This is a matter of losing their lives, yet they still want to get involved. I've lived long enough to see this." Huan stared at him strangely. The Black Shadow stared back and said, "What? Haven't you heard me say something new? What do you think these people are thinking? Their brain structure is different from ordinary people. Otherwise, why would they rush to die for such a thing? This is the charm of Mississippi. Like you probably won't be able to experience in your life." Huan said lightly. Not to mention these people. Weren't the two of them in the same mood? Chapter 1899. 1 second to remember, love divided by you. Read, book, webno pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yue led a group of people to Yangcheng slowly. As for the people who appeared from time to time on the road, as long as they didn't disturb them, they pretended not to see them. It was really too rare to have peace and quiet. They sat on the flying beasts, feeling uneasy. This time, they might really not be able to return. "Father, eat some fruit." Sima Yue took out some fruits and distributed them to everyone, then gave one to Murong Hui. "Yue, I know you've always been a child with ideas. Can you tell me the truth? Why didn't you run away?" Sima Yue took a spirit fruit and stuffed it into his hand. She sat down beside him and said, "Father, you've seen Huan and He Ying's fighting power. The two of them are very powerful, but there are a lot of people. It's enough to take some of them to delay them. A class equals underscore sef underscore email underscore ref equals /c insidiae /l /email protection. Datic female equals 3AE 7B 57 AF 18F. Email protected. Father, I was able to stop the Ghost Clan from entering the Ghost Realm in Fair Eastern City. Naturally, I used the same method to let them know what is enough. If they can settle down and not find trouble with me, everyone will be more relaxed in the future. If it doesn't work this time, then I don't mind doing the Fair Eastern City incident again. Sima Yue also wanted to solve this matter, so that they wouldn't always find trouble with her in the future. If it doesn't work, then use strength to let them recognize the reality. Morong Hui looked at her and thought of her spirit beast that could only attract lightning tribulation. He suddenly understood her thoughts. If those people had to do something, she would attract lightning tribulation. At that time, there would be so many people together, it was unimaginable what the lightning tribulation would become. And she had little purple, so the lightning tribulation wouldn't do anything to her, but those people might not. Thinking of the last time he saw her being struck by lightning, and then thinking of the lightning falling on his body, he couldn't help but shudder. He silently mourned for those people in his heart for 2 minutes. Sure enough, this little guy didn't move, but once he moved, he would definitely crush them to pieces. So, Father, when the time comes, don't come near me for the time being. If anything happens, I'll regret it to death. When the time comes, you can bring people to meet me outside. Sima Yu smiled at him, and Murong Hui felt like he had seen a little devil. However, after knowing her plans, he did not request to stay by her side. At that time, those people wouldn't even be able to avoid her, let alone hurt her. Now that he was relaxed, he was in the mood to eat the fruit. He took a big bite, as if he wanted to dissolve all his worries. At the same time, he didn't forget to scold her. You child, why didn't you tell me earlier? You made me worry for nothing. You didn't ask me. Sima Yue chuckled. You. Murong Hui was very helpless, but he also liked her like this. Having a trump card was much better than not having one. When they reached Yangcheng, Sima Yue did not enter. Instead, she stopped outside the city. Murong Hui and the people of vast region were left behind by her. When the people of Yangcheng received the news that Sima Yue had taken the initiative to come to Yangcheng and even camped outside the city, everyone was surprised. After the surprise, they were angry. This was a provocation, a naked provocation. Did she really think that she was invincible and could deal with tens of thousands of people? Patriarch Peng, you're one of the people who called for this. What do you think we should do about this matter? There are still 2 days before our agreed time, and she actually came to our door and brazenly slapped our faces. If we just let it go like this, how can we establish ourselves in the ghost realm in the future? If she dares to come, we'll make sure she doesn't return. Yes, although there are still 2 days before the agreed time, I see that a lot of people have already arrived. Should we wait for 2 days or go out now? Should they kill Sima Yue? The answer is yes. But when should they kill her? This had not been decided yet. Go now, or wait until 2 days later. Before they could think, Sima Yue had already made the decision for them. Patriarch, our men have been beaten back. A youth hurriedly ran in and came to the middle of the discussion hall. He panted as he repeated, Clan leader, the people we sent to monitor Sima Yue have been beaten back. Beaten back? They were discovered? Patriarch Peng asked. Yes, other than Xiangzi, no one else has returned, said the youth. He's not the strongest. Why is he back? I think Sima Yue asked him to come back and report. Then hurry and bring him here. Yes. Soon, the man called Xiangzi was brought up. However, he did not walk up on his own, but was carried up by others. How did you get so badly injured? Clan leader, Sima Yue spare my life. She told me to come back and tell you that if you want to find her, go to Black Su Mountain outside the city. Xiangzi said weakly before fainting. Patriarch Peng waved his hand, and the 2 men who carried Xiangzi up carried him down. It seems like she knows about our plan. We didn't hide it when we did it. Many factions know about it. So it's not strange that Sima Yue knows about it. That means she does know about our plan and came to provoke us. But why did she camp outside the city instead of coming in? Of course, she doesn't dare to come in. There are more than 10,000 experts here who want to kill her. She wouldn't dare to come in even if she had 100,000 guts. Did she think that she would be surrounded if she entered the city, and that she would be able to escape if she didn't enter the city? Maybe she does. Since she's already provoking us, what are we waiting for? Patriarch Peng, we already have so many people. There's no need to wait for the remaining 2 days. Let's leave the city today. Yes, let's go. This Sima Yue has killed so many of our people. We must kill her on Mount Wu Sewer. That's right. We've already lost more than 300 people to her. We must use her blood as a sacrifice to our people. Us too. We've already lost a few hundred people. These people were only thinking about their own people being killed. They didn't even consider that if they hadn't sent people to kill her, they wouldn't have lost so many people. Speaking of which, the 2 people by her side are really strong and strange. I wonder where they're from. It's strange indeed. When we see her, we must tell her who's behind them. Sima Yue heard this through the scarlet bees and smiled faintly. What's wrong? Wu Lingyu peeled a tangerine for her and fed it to her. Sima Yue ate the tangerine and said, I just heard a joke. Wu Lingyu guessed and chuckled. Isn't that what they're good at? They'll be here soon. We have to prepare. Chapter 1900. In 1 second, she remembered, Love divided by you? Read book, webnote pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yue leaned on him and said with a smile, With you here, what else do we need to prepare? Anyway, there are only a few of us. There's nothing to prepare. There were too many people, and they were all experts. The formation could not deal with all of them, so they were too lazy to do it. Wu Lingyu liked the feeling of her relying on him wholeheartedly. Thinking of her in the past, it was really not easy for her to reach this point. Those people did not make Yue wait for long. In half a day, tens of thousands of people surrounded the entire Mount USU. Seeing the densely packed people, the 4 people trapped in the middle were not worried. You really think highly of me. Sima Yue chuckled. No, I'm just too afraid of you two. Huan and Black Shadow did not speak. These people from the Ghost Realm were too timid. They actually gathered so many people to deal with them. However, today's main battlefield is not us. Huan stood beside Sima Yue and did not show any expression to those people. Surrounded by these people, he and Black Shadow could ensure that those people would not hurt them, but they could not guarantee that when dealing with those people, they could also take care of Sima Yue's safety. Therefore, she had to make a move today. I'm actually a peace-loving person. If I can avoid making a move, I won't do it. Sima Yue said very seriously. She looked so sincere that even she almost believed herself. I don't believe you. Black Shadow was the first to object. Why don't you believe me? I will definitely not make the first move today. But if they insist on not letting me go, then I can only choose to defend myself. Wasn't that the same? These people gathered so many people because they did not want to let her go. Since they were going to make a move, then what was the point of talking about this? When the ghosts saw the 4 of them talking and laughing in such a situation, they felt that they had been deeply insulted and were all furious. Kill them. The voices became louder and louder. Sima Yue stood up from her chair and said, Call out someone who can speak. The surrounding people instantly fell silent. Master Peng stood up and looked at Sima Yue. There was no warmth in his cold eyes. Sima Yue, I think there's nothing more to say between us. First, there was the matter of Fair Eastern City. You killed so many of my ghost clansmen. After that, you went on a killing spree in the Ghost Realm. No matter what, we can't spare you. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him and said, I think you must have some status and power since you were chosen to speak among so many people. But how can a person like you be so brainless? Could it be that all of them were flooded? You're still a pile of tofu dregs. Sima Yue, you're not allowed to insult family head Peng. Someone scolded. Am I wrong? Sima Yue snorted coldly. The situation in Fair Eastern City was different then. If it wasn't for the fact that you wanted to go to the human world, would you have been killed? Besides, I didn't take the initiative to provoke anyone after I came to the ghost realm. You wanted to kill me. Why would I stand there and wait for you to kill me? If you wanted to, would so many people have died? Now you're blaming me for killing so many of your people. Aren't you brainless people saying this? Oh, you're so angry because you think so too. So you're a bunch of brainless people. Sima Yue, you're going to die today. How dare you boast so shamelessly? Someone scolded. I want to talk to you nicely. I was very sincere before, but you don't seem to want to. How can I accept this kind of accusation? Sima Yue sighed. Anyway, you all think so. No matter what I say, you won't change your mind. Then let's move on to the next step. What next step? The problem has been formed. Now let's talk about how to solve it. Sima Yue said, I'm also annoyed by the fact that you guys are going to assassinate me. So let's solve this problem. Are you planning to commit seppuku? Someone asked. Of course not. Sima Yue glanced at the person who spoke. Her expression was clearly asking if he was stupid. If I asked you to commit seppuku, would you do it? How is that possible? That's right. How is that possible? Sima Yue sneered. That's why I said, you people are too naive, and too self-righteous. Then you're choosing to let us do it. Family head Peng was not angered by her mockery. Instead, he looked at her calmly. If you want to do it, then do it. Sima Yue shrugged. You forced me to do this. Sima Yue, do you think you can escape from our encirclement by relying on these two men? Don't let your imagination run wild. Even the space here has been sealed by us. You're already a turtle in a jar. You should surrender now. We'll give you a decent death. After all, you're the daughter of Dark Princess Yukaluo. Hearing them mention Yukaluo, Sima Yue was unhappy for a moment. However, they did not say anything bad, so she did not pursue the matter. Seal the space? Seems like they've already prepared it for you. Wu Lingyu stood up and stood beside her. He held her shoulders. The black figure glared at him. From the start, the two of them had been sitting. They were standing as if they were his guards. This fellow only knew how to take advantage of them. Sima Yue smiled at him, then said to the people above, Actually, I want to have a good talk with you guys with a friendly attitude. You guys go back and live your lives well. Don't waste your time and life here with me. You're saying this now. Are you trying to beg for mercy? Ha. Unfortunately, it's useless. Wrong. I just feel that even if all of you are going to die here, I should tell you my original intention. I want you to understand that your arrogance and aggressiveness caused you to lose your chance to live. I also want the people outside to understand that I'm actually a reasonable person. Sima Yue smiled. What arrogance? Family head Peng waved his hand, and some people attacked them. The black figure and Huan who were standing on Sima Yue's body flashed. They turned into black smoke and flew one round in the air. Those people who went down to kill them died instantly. Not even their bones were left behind. Indeed, those two people are too strange. They saw more than 10 people die in an instant. They did not even see how they did it. Are they from the Soul Society? To be able to turn his body into a wisp of black smoke, this was not something that the people of the Ghost Clan could do. Soul Society? She actually dares to collude with the Soul Society. The Ghost Clan and the Soul Society were like fire and water. She actually colluded with the Soul Society? It seemed that they had found another reason to kill her. Chapter 1901. In 1 second, she remembered Love Divided by You. Read book, web quick update. No pop-up window, free to read. After Huan and Black Shadow finished off the people, they appeared in the air. Both of them crossed their arms in front of their chests and looked at them leisurely. Those who dare to step into this place will die. Black Shadow was still very imposing when facing others. He was very different from his usual silly self. You're from the Soul Society? Master Peng looked at Huan and Black Shadow. There was a hint of excitement in his voice. Soul Society? That kind of small place is worthy of our birth. Black Shadow sneered. He also made it clear that he was not from the Soul Society. The people from the Soul Society were good at controlling souls. That was why many people would come to the Ghost Society to look for people from the Ghost Society. The people from the Ghost Society also liked to eat the souls from the Soul Society to replenish their energy. Just like how you do wanted to eat Yo-Yue's soul. That was why the Soul Society and the Ghost Society were like fire and water. They originally thought that Sima Yue was in cahoots with the Soul Society. That way, they could pin a crime on her. But they didn't expect that these people were not from the Soul Society. And from their tone, it seemed that they had a strong background. Indeed, they had a strong background. Otherwise, why would they have such a strange movement technique? It seems that you really want to link me to the Soul Society. Sima Yue sighed. But what should I do? I haven't been there since I came to the Ghost Society. No matter what, you won't be able to escape today. No matter how strong the two of you are, they're only two people. We have enough people to hold them back. The moment Master Peng finished speaking, hundreds of people attacked again. But the result was the same. They couldn't even get past Black Shadow, let alone touch Sima Yue's clothes. Sima Yue admired these people. In order to kill her, they didn't even care about their own lives. Before the first batch of people died, another batch of people attacked again. Although they didn't cause any damage to Black Shadow and Huan, they did hold them back temporarily. The people at the back saw this as a good opportunity. Dozens of people attacked Sima Yue. Wu Lingyu smirked. He let go of Sima Yue and went behind her. Like Black Shadow and the rest, he turned into a black rock and flew towards those people. However, unlike Black Shadow and the others, he did not corrode the corpses of those people. Therefore, after he flew past, he left behind a ground full of corpses. She actually had such a powerful person. Moreover, judging from their previous actions, they seemed to be very close. However, those people didn't have much time to digest the news. After seeing Wu Lingyu make a move, more people went up. Their idea was very simple. As long as they delayed Wu Lingyu, someone would be able to kill her. Sima Yu looked at those who were dashing forward without a care for their own safety, then looked at those who were faintly timid behind them, and suddenly understood something. It seemed that there were some among these 10,000 people who wanted to fight to the death with him. She wondered if Anaheim would be heartbroken after losing so many people. More and more people attacked from behind. Perhaps they thought that it would be easier to defeat Wu Lingyu since he was alone. Wu Lingyu appeared in the air for less than a second before he disappeared again. However, this time, he did not turn into a black fog. Instead, he turned into a river. Damn, it's actually a river. Are we hallucinating? The people at the top of the mountain started to shout. Those people can't float in a river. This is the water of the river of forgetfulness. Some of these people had good eyesight and recognized the river water. The river of forgetfulness. Why would the water of the river of forgetfulness come here? This person is from the Soul Clan. Only the Soul Clan could survive in the river of forgetfulness. No matter how he controlled the water of the river of forgetfulness, he was definitely from the Soul Clan. These three people, their combat power is simply heaven-defying. Seeing the three people surrounding Sima Yue in the middle, everyone was dumbfounded. Sima Yue saw more and more people coming down. She then looked at the three people who were protecting her in the middle. She started to circulate the spiritual energy in her body. Suddenly, the wind and clouds changed. The originally clear sky was suddenly filled with dark clouds. This is the tribulation cloud. It was unknown who roared, but everyone present panicked. No one dashed down again. Instead, they focused their attention on the tribulation clouds above their heads. Tribulation cloud. Why? Why would it come at this time? No one was going through tribulation here. No underworld beasts were transforming. Why would the tribulation cloud be here? After Wu Lingyu and the rest settled the people on the battlefield, they returned to her side. I said before, I actually don't want your lives. Sima Yue raised her head to look at the tribulation cloud. She muttered, "There's no right or wrong in Fair Eastern City. There's only different standpoints. Now that you've been instigated to kill me, whether it's for revenge or for the benefits given to you by the person behind you, you should know very well. Initially, she really thought that those people were finding trouble with her because of Fair Eastern City. But later on, she slowly understood. How could there be so many people who were willing to sacrifice hundreds or even thousands of people just for a few people's deaths? Today, when she saw those people who rushed to the front to kill her, she finally understood that everything was just a game of coercion. No matter if they were subdued by coercion or lost in the temptation, this was their choice. Since you've made your choice, then you should understand that there's a risk in making a choice. You have to pay the price. She looked at those people coldly. I think you don't know me that well, but the person behind you definitely knows me like the back of her hand. Then she should tell you that my advancement is a little strange. Every time I advance, there will be a lightning tribulation. I'm very happy that this time there are so many people accompanying me. What? You can actually trigger a lightning tribulation. Why didn't they tell us? If only they knew about this. If they knew, why would they look for her like this? They might not even find trouble with her. While I was in Fair Eastern City, I used this method. If you had gone to understand more, you should have known. Sima Yue snorted coldly. Those people were regretting it now. If they weren't blinded by the benefits behind them, if they didn't underestimate her, how would they end up in this state? Actually, if they weren't so eager for quick success, they would have thought that she was not weak to be able to kill so many ghost clansmen in Fair Eastern City. It was just that they took it for granted and thought that she could only do it in the human realm. After reaching the ghost realm, it would be their place. Even if she was powerful before, she wouldn't be able to make any waves here. Sima Yue looked at the tribulation cloud in the sky that was getting bigger and bigger. She nodded at Wu Lingyu. Wu Lingyu opened his little realm and brought Black Shadow and Huan in. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.